So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. What if Naruto was the lust god and lost his memory in Rosario Vampire World? Movie. It had been a month since he had woken up and found himself lost, with no idea where he was and barely recalling who he was. His name was Naruto Uzumaki, he was sure of that, but after that things got hazy. He was 16 years old, or was it 15 after all? He couldn't remember his birthday. But 16 years of life seemed so short when he felt like there were experiences at the edge of his memory that would indicate him being much older. He was pretty sure he was some kind of warrior. He had no problem remembering fighting styles and militaristic training that seemed second nature to him, he just couldn't remember where he learned it. He had friends, and a family, he just could not remember their names or faces. He couldn't even remember what he was doing a month ago, but felt that it had been something important. Now, however, he was in a place that did not even feel familiar. He had learned that he was in a city called Tokyo, in the country of Japan. But almost everything about this place seemed foreign. The landscape wasn't familiar, the buildings were unlike anything he could recall, the cloths, the technology, such as the things he had learned called cars, were odd. The entire city smelled wrong, the air was foul, and even the people smelled odd. It was like a ghost of a memory. He just felt that he did not belong with the people here. He had spent the month gathering information and trying his best to blend in. It really did not help that when he had first awoken he was naked and his entire body felt sore and funny. His body still felt odd, but he could not really say why. He luckily was able to stay unnoticed until he had stolen some clothing. After that, some fast fingers as well as some orchestrated luck had earned him some of this nation's money. With the money acquired, finding food wasn't a problem afterward. Thankfully, Tokyo did have ramen. He would never forget about that. If anything, it tasted even better than he remembered. Much of the local food was very common to what he recalled, and the language was similar despite that much of the jargon was different. Had been sleeping in parks when the weather was nice, and if it was rainy then he would find a love hotel. The love hotels were the only hotels that did not require identification, so it was the only place he could stay, even if it was embarrassing and a bit disturbing when he heard the other residents. His lack of memory and identification did cause quite a few problems, like when the local law enforcement tried to get him after he had violated something called a curfew. Flashback. Naruto wasn't entirely sure why he was running. He didn't do anything. Heck, the officers might even be able to help him. Sure, he didn't have any ID like the officer had asked for, and he did not want to answer questions that he really did not have answers for. However, it just felt like running from authorities was something he did. A flash of memories caused him to stumble, as he got an image of himself running from men with odd masks on. "Stop running, you brat!" yelled one officer, closely being followed by his partner. Naruto regained his footing as he picked up the pace, steadily putting distance between himself and the officers. Oh yeah, that defiantly feels familiar, thought Naruto. Darting into an alleyway, Naruto zipped around obstacles hoping to shake off his pursuers. Right, left, right. Dead end. Naruto thought incredulously. Who makes a stupid alley like this? Looking around, there was no easy escape. There was a door with no handle and windows that were closed and too high to reach. It looked grim as he could hear his pursuers noisily making their way towards him. He couldn't go back and he couldn't climb out. Suddenly Naruto grabbed his head as a month's uninterested voice echoed in his head. Climb a tree. There's just one rule, no hands. You will train until this becomes second nature. In his mind's eye he could see a younger boy with black hair that was oddly styled to look like a duck's butt run up a tree only using his feet. More memories assaulted him. He could not remember the boy's name or his face, but he knew him. Something about the shape of a fan on the back of the boy's shirt seemed important. Uchiha. Naruto thought. That seemed right for some reason. Regardless, Naruto knew what he must do. Sprinting towards the wall, Naruto set his foot and began to run vertically up it. Yes. He remembered this. He used his body's internal energy to make himself faster and stronger, and let him do super special awesome things. Chakra. Or was it Katra? Well, whatever it's called, I am flipping amazing, he thought with glee. Naruto made it to the top right as the officers rounded the corner. Where did that blonde punk go? One officer gasped. He went this way, right? Yeah, I thought so, but now I don't know. The officer responded with a sigh, oblivious as their target looking down on them with his hands on his hips. Whatever, I doubt he is worth our time. Let's go get something to eat before everything closes. Naruto looked triumphantly down at the officers as they turned and walked away without looking up. He might not know much about where he was, and he had no idea how he got here. He might only have a few clues about who he was, but he knew he was a badass, and that was a great place to start. Flashback end. Naruto was currently on top a roof of a small building pondering what he was going to do with himself. He had gathered a good amount of money through a variety of means, now he just needed to know what to do with it. He needed some identification. If you wanted to do anything important in this nation, it required several forms of identification, and the best he had was a library card. He did not want to stay hidden forever, and he needed more information. Naruto really did not know all that much about the world he was in. He might even have to go to school, he thought with a shudder. Above all else, he wanted to remember. His memories always seemed to be so close, right at the edge of his mind, like if he concentrated long enough it would all come back. However, they never did. The small things he did recall were just flashes of images or things that did not make sense without the right context. Naruto sighed as he tried to remember his past while he pondered his future. That's when he smelled it. Carried on the wind was a different smell. He had never smelled anything similar since he got here, and he couldn't place where he recalled it, but something about it smelled familiar. Naruto got off the roof, taking a seemingly death-defying jump. The smell was coming from the nearby residential district. Keeping his nose up, he steadily tracked the smell down, shifting though multiple smells to focus on his target, Naruto's sharp. Is that ramen? Naruto's mind sidetracked after detecting the scent created by the food of the gods. No, Naruto, bad. You can get food later, concentrate. It did not take long for Naruto to track down the scent. Under a street light, in a small parking lot attached to a little apartment building, was a short school bus with a man leaning against it. The man was wearing a crisp uniform with a peaked cap that shadowed his eyes, and the smell was coming from him. Naruto got down from the fence he had landed on and decided to walk down the block and pass by him to see if he could figure anything else with a closer look. Naruto could guess that he was the driver of that little bus, but nothing else. He hoped getting closer would tell him more. He was just entering the small parking lot when he felt it, like a breeze on the hairs of his arm. The bus driver had a strange energy coming from him. It reminded him of his own chakra, but it wasn't exactly the same. Now that he was closer, he could smell him more clearly. He did not smell like the other people in the city, but he couldn't say why, but something about his scent smelled familiar. Naruto was just about to pass by and think of something else when his plan was interrupted. Hey kid. The bus driver called out as he held up a large cigar. You got a light. He did actually. Something about having a quick way to create fire felt like something he should have, so Naruto had bought a nice silver lighter. The spiky-haired blonde only paused for a second as he decided on what to do. Well, he didn't have any new plan coming to mind, and running could ruin any chance to get information. Yeah, sure. Naruto replied, pulling his lighter out, preparing himself for anything. The bus driver leaned down and took several puffs, igniting his cigar on the open flame. Thanks. So what's a kid like you doing out here? Shouldn't you be getting ready for bed or causing petty vandalism at a time like this? Hey, who says I am not on my way to do one of those two things right now? Naruto quipped. I suppose that could be true. The bus driver said after taking a long puff on his cigar. Why don't you stay a bit and keep me company? It's a bit dull here by myself. Well, why are waiting here by yourself? Naruto asked. I have a friend that went on an errand. He's too lazy to drive himself. The bus driver said without a trace of humor in his voice. He said that he would only be a few minutes. That was an hour ago. An hour? Aren't you concerned that he got lost or is in trouble? Lost maybe, but I doubt he's in trouble. He can be a really scary guy. The bus driver stated. Anyway, he had to do something for our school. Oh yeah, you work at a school. That would explain this dinky little bus. Naruto said, patting the small yellow bus. No need to disrespect the bus. Besides, it's a special school, we don't need a big bus. Oh, a special school. I think I heard a thing about short buses. Naruto said in an enlightened tone. Not that kind of special school. The bus driver said with a sigh. It's a special place for kids your age, it can actually be a pretty scary place. What school do you go to? You look like you would be in your first year of high school. Yeah. Hey. Naruto laughed nervously, rubbing the back of his head. I am not going to any school this year. Oh, I see. Did you fail the entrance exams or something? Yes, something like that. Naruto said, not wanting to go into any details. Tell you what, you seem like a good kid, maybe I can pull some strings and get you into Yokai Academy. I don't know. Naruto replied. I am not sure I even want to go to school. Here, take a look at this. The bus driver said as he pulled a package seemingly from out of nowhere. It's not good for a youngster like you to not have a good education. Before Naruto could even open the sizable package, the bus driver spoke again. Oh, look, there's my friend. Naruto turned and saw what looked to be a priest in white striding towards them. He got the same feeling similar to chakra from him, but he got a much stronger feeling from him. He too smelled like something he should remember, different from the bus driver but similar nonetheless. Took you long enough. The bus driver said, as both of them got onto the bus. I was just telling this youngster about Yokai Academy. The priest stood on the stairs of the bus and said in a ghostly voice. You should really come to Yokai, it's a very good place to find answers. Naruto knew there was a secret meaning to what he just said, and he was about to demand answers when the doors to the bus closed. Hey, what did you mean by that? Naruto called through the door. Come to Yokai, I am sure you will find plenty of answers. Naruto heard through the door as the bus pulled away. Do you think he will come? The bus driver asked. It was fairly surprising that he showed at the bus after all the time you spent looking for him. The headmaster did not say anything as he looked out the front. Are you sure he was the one that caused the disturbance a month ago? Sure, he seemed a little odd, but though he felt like a human. Are you sure that you have the right guy? The bus driver continued to ask. You know you don't need to do that mysterious thing with me, right? It's kind of annoying. I am sorry, my friend, I can speak, I am just thinking. The headmaster finally answered. I trust everything will go as I have predicted, and I agree. He did feel human, that is what makes him so fascinating. I am sure Yokai Academy is in for some interesting events soon. It did not take long for Naruto to make his decision. The package that the bus driver gave him contained a little pamphlet that contained information on Yokai Academy. The information that was provided made it seem like a normal school with a live on campus. However, something about the pamphlet seemed to be missing. Look underneath, the underneath seemed to echo in his head. There was definitely something unsaid in the information he was given, but what exactly that was he was unsure. He really did not like the mystery that surrounding the school, however he did not want to waste this chance. He could wait and languish wondering what to do, or he could cautiously take this chance. So here he was, waiting at the bus stop. The information he was given told him to wait at this designated place to be picked up. He was already wearing the green school uniform that was provided in the package. Now he had to be patient. Luckily he did not need to wait long as the dinky little bus from before pulled around a corner. Good to see you decided to come, hop on. The bus driver said after stopping the bus and opening the door. Naruto got on and saw that beside the driver the only other person on was a stunningly average-looking guy in the middle of the bus. Whoever this guy was, he really did not have any distinguishing characteristics. If you were looking for this guy specifically in a crowd, you might look for hours and never find him. Was he tall? Nope. Average. Good looking? Nope. Average. There was nothing particularly interesting on the guy that stood out. It was kinda impressive in an odd sort of way. Hey there. Naruto greeted warmly. Hi. The nondescript person returned. Is this your first year at Yokai? Yeah, it's my first year. The blonde responded. Both of you are going to Yokai Academy for the first time. The bus driver called from the front. You had better watch your backs, it can be a really scary place. What? The new guy stuttered. Oh, don't worry about him, he seems to get his kicks from being creepy. Naruto said. I am Naruto Uzumaki, it's nice to meet you. Oh I am Sukune Aono. The newly identified Sukune responded. It's nice to meet you too. So what do you know about Yokai? I didn't get much information about it. I don't know that much about it either, to be honest. Naruto answered. I was only accepted recently by OL Spooky up there. Oh. Alright then. Sukune said dejectedly. Over the next half an hour Naruto spent the time trying to get Sukune involved in conversation. It was a little hard to keep a conversation going when he could not give that much information about himself, because honestly he could not remember all that much about himself. Even the information he did know he really did not want to share, and it might be a bit weird to say that he was a super awesome warrior with amnesia. So anyway, after failing the entrance exam, my parents somehow got me into Yokai, and I don't know anything about the school, I don't even know where it's at. Sukune finished. Yeah, I honestly am not entirely sure where it is either. Naruto admitted. Not to be mean or anything, but high school acceptance exam isn't that hard, is it? Naruto did his best to hide any indication that he hadn't even taken the high school exam. He was pretty sure he had been to school before, why else would he have such a deep-seated dislike of school? Well, you see, I don't function all that well in stressful situations. Sukune sighed, his shoulders sinking. I knew a lot of the questions, I just took too long second-guessing myself. Before I knew it, the time was up and I had barely answered half the questions. Well, that sucks. What kind of Naruto started before getting cut off as Sukune's phone started to ring. Naruto let his mind wander as Sukune started to speak to someone named Kyuko. Soon after, the bus drove into a very dark tunnel, and Naruto felt it. While Sukune was vainly trying to talk into his phone, Naruto knew that this was no ordinary tunnel. Again, Naruto wondered if he had gotten himself into a trap of some sort. However, it seemed if it was a trap that it was not going to be sprung just yet, as the bus driver stopped and announced that they had arrived. Naruto and Sukune gathered their things and got off. Wow, it's like a completely different world here on the other side of the tunnel. Sukune shivered. Yeah, I guess so. Naruto agreed, and he meant it. The smell was radically different. Gone was the smells of industry and oil. However, the new smells did not soothe him entirely either. There was the faintest scent of blood in the air, and he would have preferred the smell of more trees. The scent of blood might be explained away by what looked like an entire ocean of blood. Naruto hoped that was just a trick of the light, otherwise that was just creepy. A small part of Naruto's mind wondered why he wasn't more on edge from a creepy forest of dead trees and an ocean of blood. Maybe something about the environment called to a part of him. Is that the school over there? Sukune wondered aloud, pointing to a distant building. I wish you boys luck, you're going to need it. The bus driver said, closing the doors with a dark chuckle. Thank you. Naruto called as the bus pulled away. Good luck to you too, creepy bus dude. That wasn't entirely nice. Sukune commented. What, he drives a bus and he's creepy? I think he likes it that way. The blonde responded. Hold on a sec while I call Kyuko back. Sukune said, grabbing his phone and dialing. Huh, that's strange, I had a signal before we went through the tunnel. That's not disconcerting at all. Naruto thought with his limited knowledge of cell phones. Naruto and Sukune started walking down the path. Sukune was quite on edge as the calls of crows and owl filled the air. Gah! Sukune cried out as he took cover from a flock of bats that flew from a small opening in the ground. Wow, you were really jumpy, buddy. Naruto laughed as he reached down and pulled his new friend to his feet. Yeah, well, this place really gives me the creeps, maybe we got lost. Sukune said, then quickly turned around as he heard a squeaking sound. What was that? Naruto heard it too but was distracted by an odd feeling coming from the sky. I am a bat, said an oddly shaped bat as it flapped overhead. Did that bat just speak? Naruto asked incredulously. Suddenly another memory racked through his head, causing him to bend over and grab his head. Summoning jutsu. He heard himself call before the memory cleared and he saw a large orange toad wearing a vest. Hey Gamakichi. How's it going, Naruto? The orange toad responded. What did you summon me for? Naruto shook his head as the vision passed. Okay, maybe I have had prior experience with talking animals, I just haven't remembered it all yet. Jutsu, huh? Naruto. Sukune called to him questioningly. Don't you worry, Sukune, we will be just fine, because I, Naruto Uzumaki, am here. The amnesiac reassured with a thumbs up and big smile. Sukune saw the smile and was bit reassured, however neither of them were prepared when a pink-haired girl on a bike zipped out of the woods and slammed into Sukune. How did I not hear that coming? Naruto thought with a look of shock on his face. Sukune and the girl got tangled up and rolled away, finally stopping a few yards from Naruto. Ouch. Sukune groaned as he slowly got up. Ah, that hurt. Naruto walked over just as Sukune placed his hand on the girl's leg right below her short skirt. Both males seemed to pause for a second in shock. Oh, I am sorry. I just suddenly got all dizzy. The girl said, looking up and brushing a pink tress from out of her face, relieving her amazing looks. Wow, she is gorgeous. Sukune thought as the girl shifted a little, causing his hand to slip between her legs right above the knees. Naruto seemed to have regained his voice. Wow, Sukune, you move fast. He uttered dryly. It's not like that. Sukune defended himself, extracting his hand from the girl's legs, as a trickle of blood fell from his nose. Oh no, you're bleeding. The pinkette said as she moved in with a handkerchief. While the girl leaned in to care for Sukune, Naruto was examining her with every sense he had. She looked normal, but the hair and eyes reminded him of someone he knew. Again, a memory was on the edge of his mind that would not come. It was maddening, he just couldn't remember. Naruto. A girl's voice consoled him, however Naruto shook it off and continued to examine the girl. She smelled nice, just like a pretty girl should, but underneath the subtle perfume was that same sort of familiar smell like the bus driver, but not quite the same. What is it? What am I trying to remember? My nose knows it, but why can't I? Thought the blonde futilely. Naruto's thought process was shot down as he heard the girl say something about vampires and bite Sukune's neck. You bit me. Sukune cried as she pulled away. I am really sorry about that. She apologized, then paused as she reached down for something that had fallen out of Sukune's bag. Are you going to Yokai too? Oh yeah. The shocked brunette said. It's our first year. That's great. She said with a smile, looking towards Naruto for the first time. Mine too. I have to ask you guys. What do you think about vampires? Sukune brushed himself off as he got up, thinking she was joking. Vampires. I don't have a problem with vampires at all. The newly identified vampire smiled brightly, before turning to Naruto. And you? I really don't know much about vampires. Naruto replied honestly. But I would be happy to find out. That's great. She said as she put a hand around each boy's shoulder and pulled all three of them into a hug. In that case, do you think we can be friends? She's surprisingly strong. Naruto thought, feeling the strength in her arm. She may be cute, but his instincts told him to be on guard regarding all business involving Yokai Academy. Yeah, sure. Sukune answered, still caught up in the euphoria of meeting such a cute girl. We'd be happy to be your friends. Oh, my name's Moka Akashia. Moka identified herself. I was so worried I might not find any friends here. After Naruto and Sukune introduced themselves, they continued to the school for the opening ceremony. The three of them entered the school to see crowds of students moving around the halls. Everybody seemed to be rushing around and it was a bit overwhelming. Without even noticing, the chaos pulled the three of them away from each other. Naruto tried to calm himself, and after a few deep breaths he opened his senses, allowing him to focus on his environment. Despite doing his best to calm himself, he was still on edge. He had been avoiding people for a month and now there were so many around him. There was also so many smells surrounding him. Each person had their own unique scent, but they all had that one little familiar smell that he knew he should remember but couldn't. After following a group of students, he eventually made his way to the auditorium for the opening ceremony. Standing on his tips of his toes, Naruto tried to spot Sukune but soon remembered the boy's power of disappearing in a crowd due to his sheer averageness. The blonde did spot Moka. Her pink hair was easily seen throughout the auditorium. However, every seat around her was taken, so he decided to take a seat near the back. The loud chatter in the room quickly died down as a man in white slowly walked to the front. It was the same priest-looking guy from earlier in the week. He wasn't speaking very loud and he wasn't using a mic, but the spooky headmaster's voice seemed to carry easily to the back as it reverberated around the room. It seemed like a standard speech: everyone stay on your best behavior, this, study hard, that, blah blah blah, but Naruto could barely focus on it. He was too preoccupied as his mind tried processed all the information around him as well as attempt to list of his options now that he was here. The students were eventually released and major headache was begging to form as Naruto followed his nose and tracked down Sukune after the ceremony. Luckily it turned out they had the same homeroom. The two of them found their class and chose window seats one in front of the other. Finally seated, Naruto spent the next few minutes trying to relax as much as he could. The blonde rubbed his temples as he tried to remind himself why he was here. He didn't like school. He clearly remembered that and there were just so many people here. A few deep breaths helped him as he shook himself out of his anxiety. What am I worrying about? He thought, trying to encourage himself. I am Naruto Uzumaki. I don't back down from a challenge. I can handle whatever this place throws at me. His little pep talk did help as he relaxed and focused. That's when his nose pointed something out to him. All of the students, even the newly arrived teacher, had that same familiar part to their scent. Everyone except for Sukune. He smelled like most of the other people he had encountered since he had woken up a month ago in Tokyo. Again, he even smelled average, but not here. Here in Yokai he could tell that Sukune smelled different from everyone else. Naruto would have to figure it out later as the bell rung. Well, good morning students. The teacher said. If you are new here, welcome to Yokai Academy. My name is Shizuka Nekonome and I will be your homeroom teacher. Miss Nekonome seemed to be a bright and cheerful person, but something about her reminded him of something else. Tora. Naruto wondered, as an unhelpful memory fragment popped in his head. Why does the teacher remind me of someone named Tora? I am sure that everyone already knows this fact. Shizuka continued. But Yokai is an incredibly unique school, one that's exclusively for monsters. Nato's mental processes came to a sudden stop as decoded what his teacher just said. Quickly recovering, the forgetful ninja started to see what was underneath the underneath. Yep. Naruto thought, being careful to control his expression. I knew there was a catch. Currently this planet is almost entirely controlled by humans, and in order for monsters to survive the only option is coexistence with them. So that brings up our first rule. Miss Nekonome explained. Except in special circumstances you have to stay in your human form while on campus. Rule number 2: for a variety of obvious reasons, never reveal your monster identity to another student. So I am surrounded by monsters, that could explain that scent. Naruto thought as the militaristic part of his mind ran through threat assessment and escape options. What about Sukune? Naruto glanced over his shoulder and saw a look of shock on his friend's face as well as a particular scent coming from him. Is that fear? Naruto though passively, until his brain caught up with his nose. Wait, I can smell fear. How the hell do I know what fear smells like? So many boring rules. Said a punkish looking guy who Miss Nekonome identified as Seizu Komiya. If we do come across a human, why not just eat him? That's what I would do anyway. The scent of fear racketed up quite a bit as soon as Seizu said that. Okay then, if I have to make a break for it, that guy is getting punched right in the face. Naruto thought to himself. Well now. There's no chance of that happening because this school is protected by a giant secret barrier, which ensures that everyone here from the staff and all the students are monsters. If a human somehow found a way to get inside, they would be killed on sight. Shizuka chirped, sounding way too cheerful, speaking about killing any human unlucky enough to wander into a place they shouldn't be. Well, that can't be good. After all, I am human. Naruto thought, but then paused for a bit. I mean, I am pretty sure I am human. I would think I would remember that sorta detail even if my memory is crap. But then again, it might explain some of the cool things I can do. It just really feels weird not thinking of myself as human. I'll just stick with that for now. Naruto's train of thought was sent off track when Sukune dropped a book and quickly picked it up with a whimper. If you say so. Seizu growled. But I swear I've been smelling a human this whole time. I think I have too. Naruto thought, sifting through Sukune's scent again. I am not sure what I should do. Sukune seems like he's about to freak out, or wet himself, or both. Luckily a distraction occurred as the bubbly pink-haired girl from earlier opened the door. Sorry I am late, she said. I got lost after the entrance ceremony. Don't worry. The teacher said. Why don't you introduce yourself? Sukune seemed to calm down slightly as Moka introduced herself. The rest of the class, mostly the boys, started muttering about Moka's beauty. Moka finished her introductions and looking over at the windows rushed over to them, her eyes alight. Sukune, Naruto, you're here. I am so glad we are in the same class. As Moka pulled the two boys in for a hug, Naruto looked over her shoulder and saw multiple looks of jealousy being sent their way. Well, that can't be good. Naruto thought dejectedly. Eventually class got released for lunch. The trio eventually found their way to the lunch room. The lunch room had some very odd smells coming from it. As soon as Sukune saw the special of lasagna with bone bread sticks, he said that he wasn't very hungry and suggested they find a vending machine. Moka found a drink machine and they all got drinks and sat together in a nearby bench with Moka in the middle. Sukune got an iced coffee while Moka seemed to be. Naruto sipped on his orange-flavored drink and looked over at Sukune, could tell that from his posture that he was still on edge. Oh man, Sukune thought, as he looked over at Moka, who seemed to be on cloud nine with her tomato juice. How can a girl this cute be a real-life vampire? And what about Naruto? He's some type of monster too, right? Hey there, sexy. A voice called, causing Sukune to spit out some of his iced coffee. You said your name was Moka Akashia, right? Seizu Komiya came around a corner in a way that screamed that he was looking for trouble. Sukune leapt to his feet, which caused his friends to join him as the brute got closer. So tell me, what's a smoking hot chick like you doing with numbnuts like these? Seizu said as he raised his arms, pushing Sukune a good 15 feet into the vending machine and grabbing Naruto by the collar. Sukune! Moka yelled as his eyes shifted to her other friend. Let Naruto go. The brute pulled at Naruto's shirt trying to lift him off his feet, but the forgetful ninja instinctively sent chakra to his feet, gluing himself to the floor. Huh? Seizu said intelligently as he was unable to move the blonde. Naruto's eyes narrowed as anger slowly bubbled up in the pit of his stomach. He did not like bullies, and he really did not like someone messing with his friends. Hey buddy. Do you like that hand? He asked before the bully had a chance to put more strength into his hold. Chesh. Seizu scoffed, trying to cover up his unease as Naruto stared him down. Because if you would like to keep it, I would suggest you let go. Naruto threatened. Whatever. Seizu said, letting go and brushing his hair back. Why don't you forget about these dweebs and hang out with me, babe? It was Moka's turn to glare at Seizu. No thank you. I prefer to be around nice people, she said, turning away and flicking her hand dismissively as she headed to the downed Sukune. Seizu simply scoffed again and walked away, ignoring the angry glare he was receiving from Naruto. After a bit, the three friends eventually wandered up to the school's roof. It was empty, which for Naruto and Sukune translated to relaxing. Wow, that was pretty scary. Moka sighed, leaning against the railing. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I am fine, Sukune answered. He was so strong, and Naruto, he didn't even flinch. Is that monster power? Naruto, you were really cool back there. Moka gushed. Oh, so what kind of monsters are you? Sukune looked really nervous as he was unable to answer, but luckily she spoke again. That's right, we aren't supposed to tell. The pink kid pouted. Yeah, but we already know what you are. Sukune sighed. Oh well, you see, I didn't know that was a rule before I told you. You know, you don't look like a vampire. Sukune mumbled. I don't even know what vampires are supposed to look like. Naruto replied honestly. You're both so silly. Moka laughed. The reason I don't look like a vampire right now is because of this, she said, spreading her shirt, relieving lots of cleavage and causing both males to blush brightly. This rosary seals my powers. If this were removed, I would transform into my true power and terrifying vampire. Seal. Naruto thought as a blast of memories shot through his mind. He could see it, a giant room that was dominated by giant barred doors held shut by what seemed to be a large piece of paper with the kanji for seal. His mind kept showing him the memory as the paper fell away, uncovering some sort of complex lock, and then with a series of clanking sound the lock turned, with each section moving into place. The lock finished its intricate movement and the giant doors violently swung open. A fierce wind blasted from the open doors and deafening roar sounded from the darkness beyond. He couldn't see anything in the shadows, but it was the smell that caught his attention. It was the same smell he had recently come to associate with monsters. However, there was something more. This scent carried a sort of forbidding strength with it, as well as the promise of death. Whatever was in there was a creature of great and terrible power. Sadly, Naruto's vision was interrupted as Sukune suddenly pushed past him. Sorry, I have to go. Sukune said, his voice shaking. See you later. Why did he leave? Moka wondered aloud. Naruto, are you alright? Does your head hurt? Yeah, but it'll be fine, I get these every so often. Naruto said in a groan while holding his head, trying to clear it after his vision. What is up with Sukune? I don't know, I was just telling him that he was the first person that I had sucked blood from and he seemed to get nervous and run off. She answered. Naruto mused. Tell you what, I will go find him and see if he's alright, maybe it's guy stuff. Don't you worry about it. Moka still seemed to be concerned, but she still gave him a bright smile and said. Oh thanks Naruto, you're a good friend. Why is this happening? I meet a super cute girl that wants to be my friend and she turns out to be a vampire. Sukune thought as he gathered up his things. And then there's Naruto, who seems like a really cool guy, but I saw how he acted with that freak Seizu. He didn't even flinch. He has to be some sort of terrifying monster in order to face that head on. Sukune nearly jumped out of his skin when Naruto's voice came from directly behind him. Hey Sukune, whatcha up to? Naruto inquired. And what are you doing with that backpack? Oh hey Naruto, I am just going for a walk. Sukune stammered. If you are only going for a walk, then why are you taking all of your stuff? Naruto asked, despite having a very good idea what was going on. You're not leaving, are you? And no, I am not leaving, why would you think that? Sukune lied. Simple, you're afraid you will be killed when someone finds out that you are a human. Naruto deadpanned. All the color drained from Sukune's face and his knees grew weak. His secret was out, he was a goner for sure. Hee. Naruto chuckled. You should really see your face, Sukune. Don't worry, I am not going to report you, and I am not about to let anyone eat a friend of mine. Why not? Sukune asked as his legs finally gave out and he sat on the floor. I mean, you're a monster, aren't you? Don't you want to kill me or something? No, I am human too. Naruto answered. Or at least I am pretty sure that I am human. Naruto said, feeling confident that Sukune wouldn't betray him because after all he had just as much dirt on him. Even if he did betray him, he was pretty sure he could fake being a monster much better than Sukune could. Well, let's just put it this way, I am 90% sure that I am a human. Naruto said, with a look of intense thought on his face. Wait, how can you only be 90% sure that you are a human? Shouldn't that be something you should know? Sukune questioned incredulously. I know, right? Said the blonde unhelpfully. What? Wait, what? Sukune gasped. Okay, I am lost. Well, that's a bit complicated. Naruto admitted, rubbing the back of his head. I really can't remember much of my past. Something happened to me about a month ago. I woke up in Tokyo and had no clue where I was. What, are you serious? Sukune inquired. Naruto nodded. I don't know where my home is, or where my friends and family are. I can't remember a lot of things, and that's why I am only 90% sure that I am human. Oh man Naruto, I am sorry. Sukune whispered as he thought that he had it bad. Wait, if you're human then how could you stand up to Seizu? Well, that's because I am a certified badass. Naruto smiled. Just don't ask to see certification, I can't remember where I put it. Well, since you're a human too, we need to get out of this school. Sukune said, quickly putting the rest of his things in his bag. Badass or not, we don't belong with these monsters. I don't know, buddy, if you feel you need to go, I am not going to stop you, I'll even cover for you. Naruto said hesitantly. For some reason I think I need to stay here. Something about this place tells me that I will find answers here. No way Naruto, don't think you get it, this place is filled with monsters that would not hesitate to kill us, Sukune muttered, trying to persuade his friend. We can't stay. Sorry man, but I am staying here till I find out what is going on. Naruto said. Really? Yeah. Fine. Sukune spat, taking a few quick steps away before pausing and looking back. Be careful, alright, and tell Moka I am sorry. As soon as Sukune left, Naruto went to look for Moka, trying to figure out the best way of explaining why Sukune was leaving. However, finding her was seemingly harder than he first suspected. Man, how hard is it to find one cute pink-haired girl? Naruto thought. He had been following Moka's scent all around the school. Seriously, where is she heading? Naruto followed Moka's scent, and from what he could tell, she and Sukune had met in front of the school. Well, Naruto pondered. That's probably not be good. Following the smell of his friends, he suddenly came across another smell. Yuck. Smells like that jerk Seizu. Oh, that almost certainly isn't good. Naruto said aloud, piecing together what might be going on. The blonde quickening his pace when his sensitive hearing picked up what sounded like Moka screaming, quickly followed by Sukune yelling about something. Yep. Definitely not good. He said, rushing to help his friends. Naruto arrived on the scene right as a head of pink hair jumped down a steep incline with a cry of Sukune. Seeing an opportunity, Naruto literally jumped into action. Hey, you get back, Seizu started, but was interrupted by a sudden weight on his shoulders. Wow, Seizu, is that you? Naruto said as the brute looked up. Naruto was defiantly standing with one foot on each of Seizu's large shoulders. What happened to you? It looks like your face got smashed in by the ugly stick. You, Seizu started, but was again interrupted as Naruto did a backflip that pushed the beast forward and off the drop, causing him to tumble down head over heels. Naruto smiled as a pained yell of bastard was sent back up to him, before carefully making his way down himself. At the bottom of the slope, Moka was holding Sukune's head as he lay on the ground. I am sorry. Moka said with tears in her eyes. I didn't want to drive you away. At my old school, all the others made fun of me because I said I was a vampire. It hurt, but I didn't hate them. I just wanted a friend, but no one wanted to be my friend. I think it shouldn't matter what you are. Sukune muttered, as he slowly sat up. Who you are is much more important. I might be human, but I still. Sukune was interrupted as Seizu's true form came tumbling down the hill and landed in a pile. Grr. The beast growled, shaking his head to clear it as he'd pick himself up the ground. What's with all this lovey-dovey shit? Moka, get out of here. Sukune yelled. I don't want you to get hurt, just leave. No, I think you should both stay right where you are. Seizu laughed, baring his teeth. I agree. Naruto said as he landed from a high jump. But I think you should leave before I get angry. Nobody messes with my friends and gets away with it. Naruto. Both Moka and Sukune cried. No. Naruto, get out of here, you can't fight him. Sukune yelled. This is bad, what is Naruto doing here? Even if he is a badass, he's just a human. Naruto readied himself. He was confident that he could take Seizu in his true form. All he need to do was use chakra to enhance his speed and strength, and he would beat the brute down. Sadly, Naruto did not prepare himself for Seizu's tongue that zipped out as he spun around and wrapped around Naruto's leg. Naruto paused for a split second as something about situation seemed familiar. That small pause was all that was needed for Seizu to pick the blonde up and start spinning him. What the devil? Was all Naruto was able to say right before he was smashed head first into the rock wall. Ha 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 ha. Seizu laughed as chunks of rock covered Naruto's downed body. I knew it. He was just some punk that couldn't handle me. Now where was I? Moka, run. Sukune said, pushing the pinkett away. What is this? Naruto thought as he looked around, his vision all blurred. Why is my body so heavy? Naruto could barely see Sukune, he was so blurry. He pushed the pink blur away, who he guessed was Moka. Sukune was saying something as he backed into that weird scarecrow sign, but he couldn't understand it. His vision changed. Superimposed over the image of Sukune was some else. It was a girl with long dark bluish hair and she wore a light purple hoodie, but he couldn't make out her face. However, he could see her eyes. They were white, pale, almost like moonlight. I'll never go back on my word. A sweet voice rang in his head. Because that is my ninja way. Then in stereo as Seizu smashed Sukune, and Naruto saw an unknown force blast the girl into the ground. His vision grew dark, then suddenly a new image filled his mind, purple eyes with concentric rings radiating outward. Tell me. A new voice filled his head. This voice was cold and caused white-hot anger to bubble up within Naruto. Do you hate me now? The rosary. Moka gasped as Sukune's hand fell and pulled her seal off. It came off. A blast of pink yoki came from Moka, causing the sky to turn red, and a swarm of bats surrounded her as her body began to transform. What the hell? Seizu said in wonder as the bats flew away from her. She's different and scary. The tails, they're true. The red eyes, and the overwhelming energy. She's an S-class super monster, a vampire. When the rosary is removed, began a deep disembodied voice. Moka's innocent self vanishes, in her sealed inner vampire awak well that is unexpected. The strange disembodied void was interrupted by another powerful burst of energy. The pile of rubble shot away from Naruto's body as if the stones themselves were afraid to touch him. Naruto slowly got up from the ground. Looking up, Naruto smiled hungrily at Seizu's showing fangs and red slitted eyes, just like Moka's. And no way. Seizu stuttered. Two vampires. It can't be. Oh my. The new silver-haired Moka said. Gone was the chipper bright voice from before, it was replaced by a much huskier alluring tone. What an interesting situation for my first time awake in such a long time. What about you? Turning to the blonde, Seizu spoke, his voice shaking as if he were having trouble breathing between the two powerful entities. I thought you were down. I got you, right. Sure doesn't look that way. Naruto answered, partially to answer as well to reassure himself. Naruto did not know what was going on, but he felt great. Brushing the rubble from himself, he inadvertently cracked his neck with multiple loud pops. Flexing his clawed fingers, Naruto remembered just why he was here. Guess it just took me a bit to warm up. Naruto said, his voice seemed to growl as he sent a dangerous glare at Seizu. Come on man, pull it together. Seizu tried to hype himself, despite the incredible power he felt coming from Naruto and Moka. Stop shaking, you can take on a vampire, hell even two vampires. Moka yawned and with one final stretch seemed to be ready. I am tired of looking at you. She said. It's time for you to know your place. In the blink of an eye, Moka moved forward and high-kicked Seizu right in the face, sending him directly at Naruto. Naruto was admittedly surprised as the bully came flying at him, but with equal speed he readied himself. Agreed. Naruto yelled, leaning in and slamming both of his fists into Seizu's back, stopping his momentum. Still hanging in air and gasping in pain, Naruto roundhouse kicked the bruised bully right back with a command of know your place. An injured Seizu was making a return trip right back at Moka, who still had her leg extended from the first kick. Unluckily for the bully, she was not caught off guard and brought her leg down in a painful axe kick that cratered him into the ground. Understood. Moka finished, looking down at Brute curled up in the hole before her. Yes, Seizu wheezed. Yes, I understand. Battle over. Naruto slowly walked towards Moka when a round bat flew down between them. Wow. A mega combo. The strange talking bat cheered as it flew away. Tisk. The stately Moka scoffed. Why did you kick it back at me? Well, you see, your leg was extended up there with nothing to do, so I decided it might want to kick the brute again. Naruto joked, his mind strangely clear even as his anger still burned inside him. Do not presume and decide what I or my legs might want. Moka scoffed again with a ghost of a smile on her face. Naruto. Moka. Sukune whispered as he fell to his knees. However, all his strength left him and he fell to the ground as two pairs of red eyes looked down on him. Mused the silver-haired girl as she bent down to retrieve her rosary from Sukune's hand. You certainly look like a vampire. Moka said, turning her head to the side. But you don't really smell like one. What type of monster are you? Hey, I will be sure to tell you once I have figured that out myself. Naruto smiled, his features slowly returning to normal. Very well. Moka sighed. I suppose I will be seeing you again. Naruto nodded as Moka reattached her rosary and slumped into his arms as her hair turned back to pink. Well, that happened. Naruto muttered, setting Moka gently on the ground. Oh good, you're awake. Naruto said as Moka sat up. And it looks like Sukune is waking up soon too. Hey Sukune. Naruto said, helping the boy sit up. I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is that everyone is alive, well, mostly. Naruto quirked, looking over at the crater Seizu still resided in. The bad news is that the bus only comes once a month. What? Are you serious? Sukune demanded as tears came to the corners of his eyes. I can't believe this is happening to me. Wait. Naruto, what you did earlier, I thought you said you were human. Well, I still think I am. The blonde answered. But you know how I said I was 90% sure I was a human. Well, that number has dropped to like 70% or so, but until I know for sure I am just going to chalk that down as me being downright awesome. Moka simply chuckled lightly to herself. She was just glad that everything had worked out and that she could stay with her two friends. Even if one of those friends was a human and the other was a bit confused. Beep beep beep. Beep 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 crunch. Or the sounds created by Naruto's former alarm clock as his fist smashed down on it. The valiant device accomplished its task of waking the blonde, yet sadly had died in the process. Oh, not another one. Naruto said with a yawn. That was the third one he had destroyed in less than a week. Luckily for Naruto, destruction of alarm clocks was not an uncommon problem at Yokai Academy. Many of the monsters here had the same problem as he had. That little detail was factored into Naruto's mental tally list to gauge whether he was human or not. So far, he judged that he was still human, hovering at around 68%. There were actually many subtle things about yokai that he had learned were different from other schools. Every student had their own room. This was of course to accommodate the quirks of certain species of monster. For example, some monsters had the tendency to sleep-eat, which could include their roommate. Other species released a poisonous gas when they were having a bad dreams. Then there were monsters that simply did not sleep. Yokai Academy was designed to prepare monsters to blend in with human society, and the dorms reflected that. Almost everything in the dorms looked just like the normal buildings he had seen in Tokyo. However, it seemed not everything was completely humanized. For example, despite being an all-boy dorm, they had 3 different types bathrooms depending if you had specialized needs. Then there was the basement of the building that had stone block walls complete with torches, and wrought iron doors. It was a bit strange to see modern washing machines down with the archaic architecture. After Naruto finished brushing the broken bits of alarm clock off of his hand, he stood up and stretched, and heading towards the door. Before opening his door, he made sure to put on some flip-flops. He had quickly learned the need for footwear around here, after he had nearly stepped into a puddle of unidentifiable goo his first morning in the dorms. Upon opening the door, the blonde saw that someone had scattered some sort of charms along the walls this morning. Ignoring the little tags of paper, Naruto continued to the bathrooms, for a morning shower. The showers were surprisingly upscale. Each stall was completely separate from the others. This was most likely to keep the runoff from one shower separate from the others. After all, some of the monsters here had poisonous skin. Finishing up, Naruto toweled off his hair and headed back to his room. However, he was stopped when a humanoid monster with green skin and long ears burst out of his room. Which of you idiots thought it would be funny to put up mantras this morning? The monster yelled as his skin changed to purple and then to blue. I can't stay in one form with those up. The oddly colored fellow turned to Naruto. What, it's not affecting you? The monster said, seeing that Naruto looked to be in human form. The blonde shook his head, with a small shrug. It's gotta be targeting shapeshifters then. The monster huffed, and started to walk away. My bet is that third-year warlock. I am going to see the manager. Naruto made it back to his room when the door behind him opened. Good morning, Naruto. The sleepy voice of Sukune said. Hey Sukune. Never a dull day here at Yokai, am I right? The blonde said with a smile. Don't remind me. Sukune groaned. Naruto made his way down to the dorm entrance hall, making sure to stop by the manager's booth by the door. Hey Greg. Naruto said, leaning over the little counter and seeing the dorm manager reading a book. Wada ya want? The manager seemed to growl. Gregory Anuk was a burly man with an impressive bushy beard and brown hair that was beginning to gray. I broke another alarm clock anyway, I can get a new one. Naruto asked. Come on boy, this is your third one and you've barely been here. Mr. Anuk said, sending Naruto a patronizing look. Just because the school can provide students with alarm clocks does not mean you are free to destroy them. It's not my fault. Naruto defended himself. The first one surprised me when it went off, and I threw it through the window reflexively. Which explains why I had to replace your window. Greg muttered. The second one, I guess I hit it too hard when I shut it off and I squished it. This last one, well, I think I was having a dream about fighting someone and I crushed it right when I woke up. Fine. The dorm manager grumbled. Are ya sure you're not eating M? We've had students do that before. What? No. Naruto denied. I am not like that. Unless you find a clock made of ramen, I am not going to eat it. Huh, fine. Greg sighed. I will see if I can get an alarm clock that can take some more abuse, but after this one and you might get in trouble for breaking any more. Thanks, old man. Naruto said, giving Greg a thumbs up. I promise I will do my best not to destroy any more of the annoying little machines. Alright, I am done looking at ya. Mr. Anouk said, waving Naruto off. Now leave me be. As Naruto walked off, Gregory glanced over his book as he left. Almost every year the headmaster told him about students that he should keep an eye on or kids that might be troublemakers. It wasn't often he was told to make weekly reports of a student's activities. Naruto was one such student. Naruto smiled as he sat down on a bench in the what he liked to think of as his little oasis of life. The second day of school he had discovered this little haven. It was a lovely little pond surrounded by greenery. The water was clean and the trees around it were green and alive. The location was quite a bit off of the normal path between the school and the dorms, so not many students came here. Something about being around nature was much more calming than the towering buildings of Tokyo or the gravestones and shriveled trees of Yokai. Although there was something about the main school building was pretty awesome. Moka agreed that the main building was cool. She said something about the building having character. Sukune was of a different mind, however. He kept saying that the building seemed to be taken directly out of a ghost story. Not everything was grand. Classes were one concern for Naruto. Math was terrible. Miss Kagome Ririko seemed to really like teaching, but he just couldn't understand half the stuff she was trying to teach. Sure, he could count and handling money wasn't a problem, but stuff like finding the area of a circle and multiplying fractions and variables just went over his head. History wasn't bad, it seemed to be dumbed down for monsters. So they started with the basics of human history. Miss Nekonome was teaching language and it wasn't too bad, and gym with Katsubo Okuto was a breeze. Science with Professor Richard is a bit of a toss-up. Some of the material he could understand just fine, other stuff not so much. The science teacher was by far the oddest at the school. It wasn't even known if Professor Richard was trying to stay in human form. Sure, his hands looked human, but the rest of his body was hidden in a thick black cloak. There was also the issue with his violent tendencies. Flashback. Greetings class, now that we have taken roll call, welcome to first year basic science. Said a deep forbidding voice from within the dark hood. I will be your teacher, Professor Richard, Chief Warlock of the Brothers of Darkness, Lord of the 13 Hells, Master of the Bones, Emperor of the Black, and Lord of the Undead. A ratty-looking boy in the front row whispered in a way that the entire class could hear. Dang, what an overinflated opinion of yourself. Professor Richard's cowl turned towards the boy and then down at his class list. Mr. Reed Shirts, yes. Is there something you wanted to say? Nah, I was just curious why someone with so many impressive titles is here teaching. Shouldn't you single-handedly be taking the world back for monsters? I am just guessing you're not that special, right, Dick? All of the sudden Professor Richard's hands glowed and with a whoosh Reed was engulfment in fire. Oh my, that looks painful. Richard deadpanned over the screams of Reed. Roll, Mr. Shirts, smother the fire. Remember, there are 3 ways to put out a fire. Remove the heat, remove the fuel, or remove the oxygen. The class seemed shocked, but 2 of Reed's friends pulled off their jackets and put the fire out. Good job, you two. Richard seemed to mumble, disappointed. Well, it seems we were fortunate to witness the scientific phenomenon known as spontaneous combustion. I suppose that Mr. Shirts should be taken to the nurse's office. Why don't one of you do it? Flashback end. Naruto sighed. He would have to figure out what to do about classes. Maybe he could get some tutoring or something. A flash of purple caught Naruto's eye where he saw a girl with long purple hair walk between some trees on the other side of the pond. It looked like she wore a changed version of the school uniform with a white shirt and purple striped stockings. She seemed to finally notice Naruto's presence, and as she saw him she jumped behind a tree, hiding everything but half of her face. The forgetful ninja got a huge wave of deja vu as he smiled and sent her a nonchalant wave. She leaned out from the tree a bit and gave Naruto a shy wave. Now that he could see her, she was quite pretty even if her hair was a bit messy. The moment did not last long as she backed into the trees and eventually disappeared from view. With a sigh, Naruto shrugged, leaning back and closed his eyes, letting the calm of the oasis of nature wash over him. It wasn't long before his peace was interrupted. Looking up, he saw Sukune came jogging into the clearing. He was out of breath and holding his neck. "Hey Sukune," Naruto called. "Oh hi Naruto." Sukune sighed. "What are you doing here?" "Just relaxing," he replied. "Something wrong with your neck?" "Yeah." Moka got hungry again. The average boy whined. "It doesn't hurt that bad, but this stinks. She's so nice. I just don't wanna be her breakfast. Between her and every other monster at this school, I don't think I am going to make it at this school." "Chill out, buddy." Naruto laughed. "Have you talked to Moka about her sucking your blood?" "No," he answered. "It's just that she is so happy and says that my blood is the best. I don't want to disappoint her." "I don't know, man, it seems kinda weird," the blonde said with a shrug. "Maybe you can work out a system or something with her." "Yeah, maybe," Sukune said dejectedly. Naruto was distracted from their conversation when a petite girl with blue hair stumbled into the clearing and fell to her knees. Without really thinking, Naruto found his feet, carrying him over to help the girl. "Are you alright?" Naruto asked. I don't know, I just got so dizzy and I couldn't breathe," the downed girl said. "I am sorry, but would you mind giving me a hand?" "Yeah, sure," Naruto replied, kneeling down. "Just stay down till you are sure you can get up." "Oh, okay, that sounds smart," the girl said, looking up, showing her pretty face. "Thank you for helping me." "Naruto, what's going on?" Sukune asked, coming up behind his friend. "She's just not feeling well," he answered, then turning back to the girl. "Are you feeling better, or do you think you'd rather go see the nurse?" "I think the nurse, maybe," she said in a diminutive tone. "Alright, I'll get you there," Naruto said before turning to his friend. "I am going to help her get to the nurse. I'll see you in class, maybe you can talk to Moka." "Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can find Moka. See you in class," Sukune said before walking away towards the school. "Here," Naruto said, grabbing one of her arms and pulling her to her feet. "Thank you so much," she said, hugging Naruto's arm and turning so that his arm was pinned between each other. "This happens every once in a while, my chest gets so tight I can't breathe." "Ah yeah," Naruto mumbled as the close proximity between them slowed his thinking processes. Because of Naruto's slowed intellect, he did not notice the cruel look of satisfaction pass over the blue-haired girl's features. The two of them were already halfway to the nurse's office before Naruto regained enough brain power to speak. "You're in my class, right?" Naruto asked. "Sorry, but I can't remember your name." "Oh, that's alright, my name is Kurumu Kurono," she answered. "You're Naruto, right?" "Yep. Naruto Uzumaki, at your service," he said, thumping a fist against his chest. "Anyway, it's not too much further." "Naruto, you're so funny." She laughed and seemed to slump as Naruto pulled her onward. As they walked, they talked about the classes each other like or the ones they had trouble with. Kurumu complimented Naruto, saying that he pulled off the school uniform well. Naruto blushed brightly, saying that he wished that the uniforms were orange instead of green. She agreed that orange was a good color, but it would lose its effect if everyone wore it. The forgetful ninja enjoyed their conversation. It was nice for him to have a conversion with someone and not have to worry about his memory loss. They arrived to an entrance to the school when Kurumu stopped. "Listen, Naruto, I want to thank you for being so helpful," she said, looking up. "Please look at my eyes. I would like for us to be friends." Naruto smiled. Friends did sound nice. Looking down into her unique purple eyes, he was just about to accept a friendship when a subtle feathery feeling floated into his mind, followed swiftly by a blast of memory tearing through his head. This memory felt different from every other he had before. This memory brought a feeling of deep-set anger. A vision bloomed in his mind's eye. It was an image that felt extremely familiar yet set him on edge. Before him he saw a unique red eye. Naruto knew he had seen the eye before, an eye with a red iris and a black pupil surrounded by a faint ring with 3 tomo. Before he could try and recall any more, however, a voice filled his mind, putting his emotions on edge. Slaves to those with blessed eyes. The cold voice commanded. Obey. Without even thinking, Naruto reacted as blinding anger overwhelmed him. With a cry of no, Naruto's right hand wrapped around Kurumu's delicate neck, picking her up and slamming her into one of the nearby supporting pillars. To say that Kurumu was shocked would be an understatement. She was absolutely stunned as she looked down at the red-slitted eyes glaring up at her. His hand pressed around her neck in a way that told her that he could easily squeeze just a bit harder and crush her airways, leaving her to expire slowly. Is this the power of a vampire? Kurumu's terrified mind wondered. I heard the rumors that Naruto and Moka were vampires, but how did he break my charm? After a few gasps from Kurumu, Naruto's anger suddenly left him as the memory faded. Letting go, the petite girl fell and panted for air. I am so sorry, Naruto said in a shocked voice, kneeling down to see if Kurumu was hurt. I don't know what came over me, I am so sorry. What's going on? Kurumu thought, as she instinctively pulled away from Naruto. It's like he doesn't know what I did. Was his response reactionary? Seeing Kurumu's reaction, Naruto himself pulled back, looking down at his hand as the slightly pointed fingernails retracted completely. Are you alright? I didn't mean, I am so sorry. Naruto stuttered before taking a deep breath, to compose himself. I didn't mean to hurt you, Naruto said, standing up, his voice calm even if his emotions were not. You are almost to the nurse's office, I need to check something out. I hope to see you later. The disturbed blonde quickly turned and left, walking away from Kurumu. He was the one that hurt me, the girl thought, as she stood up, massaging her neck. Then why do I feel so bad? Naruto did not show up at class that morning. He was still missing when lunch rolled around. Sukune Aono was so concerned for his friend that he completely forgot to talk to Moka about her sucking his blood. The girl that Naruto helped that morning came into class just a little late for first period. Sukune wanted to speak with her between classes, but she gave off an air of annoyed aloofness that drove others away. At lunch, the blue-haired girl made a beeline to the door as soon as the bell rang. Seeing this, Sukune got up and turned to Moka. Hey, I'll see you at lunch, there is someone I need to speak to first, he said without waiting for a response, and headed for the door. After a little searching, he found the bluette. Hey, you, Sukune called. Kurumu wasn't the only one who turned at Sukune's call, many in the hallway did. That's Sukune, Kurumu thought as the dull-looking boy jogged up to her. Okay, this is a chance I can't miss. I need to stop thinking about Naruto and continue with my plan to defeat Moka. Sorry, I don't remember your name, Sukune said, slightly out of breath as he stopped. I just wanna know where Naruto is. Oh, Naruto, Kurumu said, focusing on her objective, and smiling sweetly. He is such a nice guy, but I don't know where he went after helping me. Oh, Sukune said before getting interrupted. You're Sukune Aono, right? She continued, stepping beside the boy and sliding her hands into his arm. I suppose I should thank you as well because you kinda helped me. I am Kurumu Kurono. Well, I guess you're welcome, Sukune said, his voice breaking slightly from the close proximity to such a cute girl. I really didn't do anything though. You see, there was a problem with my chest, she said, lightly pulling his arm into her assets. He was so kind to help me, sometimes it just feels like they will burst. Sukune's mind went blank as he looked down past the girl's face and at her seemingly disproportionate breasts. Whoa, look at those. How did Naruto help her with her chest? Sukune wondered as his thoughts turning a bit more perverted. I wonder if she needs any more help. Sukune, please look at my eyes, Kurumu said, knowing exactly where the boy was currently looking. I am sure a friend of Naruto's is just as nice of a guy as him, so I want us to be friends too. Wow, she has such pretty eyes to go with her boobs, Sukune thought as a feathery feeling encompassed his mind. Be your friend? Sure, I would love to be your friend. The average guy happily cheered as he pulled Kurumu in a tight hug. Oh my, Sukune. Kurumu laughed, and was still laughing when Moka came around the corner and saw them. Wow, Kurumu thought with a surprised mental smile upon seeing Moka. I don't think this could have gone better if I had planned it like this. Sukune, what's going on? Moka started seeing him holding a girl. Is this who you were going to see? Yeah, we're good friends. Kurumu said, turning towards the bewitched boy. Isn't that right, stud muffin? Yeah, that's right, babe, great friends. Sukune said, as he again pulled her in for another hug. Oh, why don't you and I have lunch together, Sukune? Kurumu asked in a chipper tone. That sounds great. Sukune mumbled. I would much rather go with you. Moka might eat me if I go with her. That sounds terrible, she said as she pulled Sukune away, walking arm in arm. To think she would use you like that. The duo left the pink-haired girl behind them as they headed to the lunch room. Sukune, what's going on? Moka said sadly as the boy left. As soon as Naruto left Kurumu, he went off into the dead forest surrounding the school. He was upset and rapidly losing faith that he was truly human. Looking down at the hand that had wrapped around Kurumu's neck as if it had betrayed him, he formed his fingers into a fist and punched a nearby tree. He hit hard as his fist sank a good 2 inches into the wood. Drawing his hand back with a hiss, Naruto saw that the skin on 2 of his knuckles had split, allowing blood to seep slowly to the surface. The blonde turned away angrily, decided that punching the tree had only added to his problems. He cradled his hand and walked deeper into the woods. He must have been walking for only a few minutes before he realized that his hand no longer hurt. Looking down at his hand, he saw that dried blood trailed down his fingers and ended where it had fallen off. Flexing his fingers, he could not feel any pain or see the previous injury. Licking his thumb on his opposite hand, he ran in across his previously injured knuckles. As the dried blood was wiped, it showed only fresh, unmarred skin. Naruto could hardly breathe as unanswered questions flashed through his head. What was he? Was there more to what he could do than chakra? Where had he learned about chakra? Why did he attack Kurumu so suddenly? Would he randomly attack again? The amnesiac didn't like where these questions were leading, so he decided to stay in the forest for a while and maybe he could discover a few answers to his puzzle. Naruto first tried to relax as deeply as he could. Maybe if he really was a monster, he could release his true form by relaxing his human form away like a tensed muscle. He did not know how long he lay on the ground, but there was no changes to report. No growing fur or scales, no different appendages, nothing. The only thing he had seemed to accomplish was refamiliarizing himself to the sound of his own heartbeat. Naruto tried a different tactic as he tried to stretch himself, willing his body to grow or shift. It wasn't long before that attempt evolved into a seemingly automatic stretching routine. He marveled at himself as he naturally recalled how to stretch one muscle group after another. Fighting techniques, kicks and punches were one thing, but it was a bit shocking when he sank down and discovered that he could nearly do the splits. He then expanded on his exercise, doing series of back handsprings, flips, twists and multiple other acrobatic maneuvers that he executed without fear or mistake. He then added chakra and began to bounce around the woods. Running up trees, pushing off in a backflip and running down another tree he had landed on. It all felt familiar to him, like he had done this exact same thing hundreds of times before in a place he couldn't remember. Naruto already knew some of this, but not to the level he was now rediscovering. Back in Tokyo, right after remembering how to use chakra and his ability to climb walls, he discovered his lack of fear around heights. With the use of chakra, he could move around the rooftops of Tokyo relatively unnoticed, especially if he moved at night. There was actually one time that he hadn't been paying as much attention to his surroundings when a group of free runners saw him easily cleared a 20-foot gap between buildings 4 floors up. The free runners had immediately started to cheer and tried to get him to jump back and show them how he had done it. Enjoying the small amount of attention but not wanting to answer any questions, he had given the group a small bow and then ran off. None of the free runners were confident enough to attempt the jump themselves, so all they could do was yell, "Come back, Matrix dude." Naruto sank back, sitting with his legs crossed. He relaxed as his heartbeat slowed. As his pulse returned to normal, so did the reason as to why he was out here to begin with. Yes, he was feeling a bit better, but he still couldn't answer if he was a human or not. It just seemed so odd for him to think of himself as not being human. Everything that felt natural as he was right now. If he was a monster being in his monster form should feel normal to him, shouldn't it? He had seen some of the other monsters in the dorms when they accidentally transformed. For the other monsters, staying human was a partially conscious effort. Shouldn't it be the same for him if he was a monster? He sighed as no answers came to him, causing him to descend into a light depression. His emotions were such that he almost did not catch the nearly imperceptible sound not too far away to his right. Snapping his head to the right, he heard it again. It was a quiet, unnatural hiss of fabric brushing along fabric. With a quick flare of his nostrils, he sniffed the air, attempting to detect who could be nearby. After a moment, he detected a scent hidden behind the plant decay of the forest. It was much too fresh and clean, like rain, but not really. It was too cool. The scent was much more like fresh snow. Who's there? Naruto called. I know someone's there. Come out before I come looking for you. After a few moments later, a head with purple hair peeked out from behind a tree. I am sorry, she muttered. I was just walking around when I saw you. I didn't mean to intrude. Oh, Naruto said, getting up and walking closer so he could hear her better. It's all right, no harm done. How long have you been there? Several minutes. I've never heard of anyone able to move like that in their human form, she said with a bit of awe in her voice. What kind of monster are you? Deciding that he had reached a good distance between them, he stopped a few yards away and sat down, leaning back on a tree. It didn't seem like she was planning on getting out behind her tree anytime soon, and he wasn't sure if he could trust himself being too close to someone right now. Even if it wasn't against the rules, I couldn't tell you. Naruto smiled, trying to make it sound a bit mysterious. I am Naruto Uzumaki. Didn't I see you earlier this morning? Yes, I am Mizore Shirayuki. The purple-haired girl identified herself. Why are you out here? Are you lonely? Lonely. The blonde pondered the word. The concept seemed so familiar to him. It's almost unbearable, isn't it? A younger version of his own voice echoed through his head. The feeling of being all alone. I know that feeling. I've been there, in that dark and lonely place. Naruto gently shook his head to clear it. He smiled wistfully, recalling a memory but not knowing who he said it to. Yes, he was lonely. Just because his head had forgotten didn't mean his heart had. He knew there were people that cared for him. He did wonder where his friends were and if they were looking for him. He couldn't quite remember them, but he still missed them, whoever they were, and just because he was lonely didn't mean he was going to give up. Giving up was for losers, not certified badasses. He was going to keep it, get his memories back and find the answers he desired. Yes. Naruto eventually answered Mizore. I am lonely, but that won't stop me. I just came out here to clear my head. What are you doing out here, if you don't mind me asking? Well, Mizore started before pausing as if she was considering what she was going to say. It's the school, there are just so many people. I am not used to it. Oh, well, that's not good. Naruto said, scratching the side of his head. I am not always the smartest person, but it seems to me that if crowds worry you, then you won't solve anything by staying by yourself. That does sound smart, Mizore said as she stepped out from behind the tree. But it isn't always that easy. Well, sure it is, Naruto countered. I too had a problem with the crowds when I first got here. Really? Mizore asked, wonder in her voice. What was your problem? I know it sounds paranoid, he laughed, but I was concerned that someone was going to jump me. I figured out a way to calm myself down, and now it's not that bad anymore. In class 1, got a seat by the window, so if anything really gets bad I am jumping out of it. There are other little things I do, and now I don't worry so much now that I have gotten more used to it. I don't really have the same problem, so I don't think that will work. Mizore moaned. You just have to figure out something that will work. If you are worried about what people will think of you, then you just have to remind yourself that you're awesome. Why should you care what some jerks think of you? As long as you believe in yourself and get some friends that agree with you, then you're good. That's what I try to do anyway. Wow, you're so confident, Mizore said, a faint smile appearing on her face. Thank you, I feel a bit better. I will think about what you said. Oh, are you leaving? Naruto asked. Yes, you seem to have been out here for a reason. The purple-haired girl guessed correctly. I'll leave you alone, but maybe I helped you like you helped me. Naruto waved goodbye as Mizore left. With a sigh, Naruto returned his mind to the problem that had originally brought him out. After lunch, classes had started up again and Moka was not happy. Glancing over to her right, she saw that blue-haired girl from earlier looking over at her. That girl is in our class, but how do she and Sukune know each other? Moka thought, sending a glare. The way they were holding each other was like they were boyfriend and girlfriend. Look at her. I've got her. I am winning and it won't be long till she is out of my way. Kurumu thought victoriously. Sukune wasn't even able to pay attention to Miss Nekonome as she talked about some literature from the 19th century. Man, this day hasn't been going well. Sukune moaned internally. I haven't gotten to talk to Moka like I should have, and where is Naruto? He hasn't missed a class yet, so it's not like him to skip school. The last bell of the day rung and Sukune loudly sighed and took his time putting his book away. When he got up and turned around, both Moka and Kurumu were gone. Oh, come on. The average guy muttered. Everyone just keeps up and disappearing. Moka Akashia might not know exactly what was going on, but she did know that she was annoyed. And where was Naruto? He hadn't shown up to any class and he always seemed to bring a bright outlook to any situation. If only he were here, he would probably be able to help her figure out what was going on with Sukune. You're a vampire, right? Asked a voice from above Moka. Looking up, the Pinkett saw the girl that was with Sukune. That's what all the rumors are saying anyways. Kurumu said, jumping of the railing she had been sitting on, which caused her skirt to fly up, relieving white panties. You're the one that was with Sukune, what do you want? Moka asked. The girl landed. I am Kurumu Kurono, and this is an official declaration of war. She said, oblivious to the group of observers that were gathering around them. I can't stand you, just by being around you or messing with my great plan. Wait, what plan? Moka asked, taken back by the girl's anger towards her. My plan to turn every guy at this school into my personal love slave. Kurumu said, striking a pose. It was all perfect too until you showed up. Because of you their attention has been split between you and me. It's not fair. On my honor as a succubus I won't lose in a battle of feminine charm. Hey wait, we're not supposed to reveal our monster identities. Moka said. So I've decided that to prove I am better than you, I'll take Naruto and Sukune from you. I've seen Naruto's power. What do you think? He'll be your man and Sukune is just an unfortunate friend that gives you blood. What? Moka gasped in shock. It's not like that at all. Naruto isn't, and I would never use Sukune like that. Whatever is going on here, Naruto and Sukune have nothing to do with this. Their tense moment was interrupted when Sukune walked up to the two fighting girls. Oh, there you are, Moka. Listen, there was something I wanted to talk. Sukune started until he was interrupted by Kurumu. Hey Sukune. Kurumu jumped in, giving the boy a big hug, pressing her breasts into his chest. I just want to thank you. I had such a good time at lunch. Wait, Kurumu, Sukune tried to speak, his thinking slowed by Kurumu. Sukune. Moka muttered with an annoyed look on her face. If you were looking for me, then why do you look so happy seeing her? Now that you're here, why don't you hang out with me? Kurumu said, looking up into the boy's eyes. Charm. Yeah, that sounds great. Sukune mumbled. No, you gotta listen. Moka pleaded. That girl is using you. Why she isn't the one who sucks my blood? Sukune asked, his mind strangely blank. No, this isn't right at all. Moka thought, tears welling up in her eyes. Why is Sukune acting like this? Where's Naruto? This day is just terrible. The emotions got too much for the pink-haired girl and she went running off, tears streaming down her face. It wasn't long after that Kurumu and Sukune found themselves alone in the relative privacy of the infirmary. Yes, I did it. Kurumu thought victoriously. I made that annoying Moka cry. Now to finish up with Sukune, then I can focus on the real prize. If my love charm won't work on Naruto, then I will just have to use something else. While Kurumu was celebrating her victory, Sukune was of a completely different mind. His day just seemed to be going downhill. Why did I say those things to Moka? Sukune thought, glancing up at Kurumu. Sure, she's pretty, but I don't know what is going on. Sukune didn't have long to think when Kurumu noticed his distressed state of mind. Oh, you're feeling sad. Kurumu cooed. Well, don't worry, I have a way to make everything better. After talking to Mizore, Naruto started to slowly feel better. He needed to just listen to his own advice. He might not know exactly what was going on, but he wasn't going to let that stop him. There was certainly something different about himself that he either did not know about, or not remember, but he was going to find out. Naruto had been out in the forest for quite a while. Even after Mizore left, he had stayed out for a while longer. He wasn't exactly sure how long he had been out, but he guessed that school would nearly be over. Deciding that he had been out long enough, Naruto got up and dusted off his school uniform. Hours of running around in the woods had left it in need of a cleaning, but he would do that later. Just as he was heading back, the sharp smell of burning tobacco caught his attention and a figure popped out from behind a tree. It was the bus driver. "Whoa, creepy bus guy, what are you doing here?" Naruto questioned, surprise evident in his voice. "I don't drive the bus all the time," he answered in a deep voice. "I also enjoy taking long, enthusiastic walks. Why are you out here? Shouldn't you be in school with your friends? This is a very scary place. Who knows what could happen to someone left by themselves?" "Hey," Naruto scoffed. "You don't need to worry about me. I can take care of myself just fine." "But can your fiends?" the bus driver emotionlessly returned. Naruto's face grew pale at the thought of his friends in danger, and the bus guy had a point. Sukune seemed to be a magnet for trouble. Who knows what kind of problems he could find himself in. The forgetful ninja shot a look at the bus driver that said if he better not be messing with him. With that, Naruto ran off towards the school as fast as he could. "Just stay still," Kurumu commanded, leaning over Sukune. "It'll make you forget about Moka." Wait. Sukune stuttered. "This isn't right. I am sorry, but I don't know you and don't want to be rude, but I need to go apologize to Moka." "What?" Kurumu asked in shock. "Why? Why would you want to go to her when I am here? Is she so much better than me?" The blue-haired girl's voice got angrier as she spoke. "Jerk. I am not going to take this humiliation. Naruto breaks out of my love charm and you ignore me. I can't take it," she said, when suddenly wings ripped from the back of her sweater. "Sukune." Moka's voice called from outside, and suddenly the infirmary door slid open. "Moka." Sukune yelled in surprise. "No. Get away from him." Moka yelled as she rushed in and shoved the succubus so hard she flew out the window. "Run, Sukune, before she comes back." "Hold on a second, I don't know what is going on here." Sukune yelped in confusion. "That girl is a succubus and has the power to bewitch any male just by looking at them," Moka explained. "Oh, so that's why I said all those mean things to you," Sukune said in understanding. "Wait, she was with Naruto earlier, you don't think?" They did not have the time to wonder about Naruto as Kurumu zipped back in the window and wrapped her tail around Sukune, pulling him out. It was quick thinking by Moka that saved him as she grabbed the stunned boy and was pulled out with him. The weight of two people was too much for the winged succubus and she was forced to let go soon after pulling the two of them out the window. "Sukune. You need to take of my rosary." Moka moaned as she slowly picked herself up off the ground. "Release my real powers so that I can fight her." "Right," Sukune said confidently as he wrapped his hand around the magical seal. After two quick tugs, nothing happened and they both looked down in bewilderment. "Wah, it won't come off." "I don't understand, it came off earlier." Sukune yelped in panic. "It looks like all you have is a bit of strength." Kurumu taunted as she flew down for an attack. "You're nothing like Naruto, the power he had was terrifying." "What did you do to Naruto?" Both Moka and Sukune chimed together as they ducked under the succubus attack. "Why do you care?" Kurumu asked, hanging in the air. "He's not here to save you, so be good, give up and die." "No, don't do this," Moka yelled. "If you have a problem with me, then fight me, leave Sukune alone. He is my precious friend, it has nothing to do with want his blood." Kurumu was flying down for a final attack. "No, this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been a burden to Moka," thought Sukune as he grasped the Rosario one more time and pulled. "This feels right," Naruto thought as he ran through the woods, his body crouched aerodynamically, with his arms extended behind him. He was close to the school when he sensed a releasing of power like an itch in the back of his head. The blonde picked up his pace as the sky around the school darkened slightly. "There," Naruto muttered as he saw a figure in the sky, and jumped to a corner of the school to observe everything. Below him he saw Sukune standing in front of Moka as her hair turned silver and her bust and posterior swelled. The figure in the air turned out to be the girl Kurumu from earlier in the day. However, this time she had wings and a tail along with an unpleasant look on her face instead of the kind one that he remembered. What? This power, it's just like Naruto's, it might even be scarier. Kurumu gasped. She's a real vampire. Finally. The silver-haired Moka purred as she straightened herself to a full height. Why are you getting in my way? Kurumu yelled in aggravation. In your way. The vampire scoffed. You are the one bearing your fangs at me. We succubi seek a destined encounter among the men we tempt. Kurumu explained, her voice full of emotion. My species is in danger of extinction, and I must find my destined one. Moka Akashia, you got in the way of everything, so now I am going to make sure you can't do it again. To pick a fight with me over something so foolish, you frail egotistical woman. Moka taunted as Kurumu swooped in. Naruto watched from the corner of the building. He wasn't entirely sure what was going on, but he guessed he had missed quite a bit. He didn't want any of his friends hurt, and even though he did not know Kurumu for long, she did ask to be his friend. Deciding that he had waited long enough, he jumped in when Moka counter-attacked and grabbed Kurumu's tail. Slow. Moka hummed as she used the succubus tail, pulling the girl in front of her and delivering a straight kick to the stomach. Know your place. In a cry of pain, Kurumu was sent straight through a tree and was on a collision course with another when a green blur caught her. Naruto. Sukune yelled as he came out of nowhere and caught her. Why? Kurumu gasped, looking up in shock at the friendly whisked face that saved her. You've been missing all day. The sliver-haired Moka stated. Did the succubus bewitch you? Are you her eternal slave? Bewitch me? Naruto said in confusion. I am not sure what you are talking about, but I am most certainly no one's slave. Kurumu is a succubus, Naruto. Sukune said, closing the distance between the trio. She can enchant any man just by looking at them. Oh. Naruto said, resisting the temptation to drop Kurumu and slam his fist into his palm as understanding dawned on him. Is that what you were trying to do when I attacked you? The blonde asked Kurumu. Yes, I am sorry. The succubus said as she slowly regained control of her breathing. Good. Moka said with a vindictive smile. Now that you see the truth, there is no reason for you to protect her. Put her down. I plan of making sure she will never attack me again. Kurumu stiffened in Naruto's arms as she looked up, tears welling up in her eyes. Sorry, no can do. Naruto said as he turned and set Kurumu down behind him. What? Moka snarled. I may not know exactly what is going to, but it seems to me that Kurumu did what she did because of what type of monster she is. She's not a bad person. Naruto stated, trying to keep things light. It would be like me try to hurt you because you have to drink blood. You think she is vindicated to find her destined one by turning every male in the school into her slave and killing everyone else that would be a competitor? Moka asked with a glare. Well, when you put it that way, I guess it does sound bad. Naruto rubbed the back of his head before turning to look at Kurumu. I don't know, maybe you could find a different way to your goal. How? The temptress huffed, tears still in her eye as she tried to get to her feet. Neither of you understand what it is like for my kind. I don't know, you're pretty enough that you could date almost any guy in this school. Go though the guys here and give them a few dates or however long it takes for you to decide if they are your destined one. Naruto muttered, seemingly stringing the words together. For some reason he had the feeling that he knew someone that already did that sort of thing. Yeah, that might work. Kurumu blushed, seemingly giving up her attempt to stand and slid back down to the ground. Not so fast. Moka hissed. Why should I agree with your mercy? The way I see this is you're getting in my way. You've already beaten her, why do you need to continue this? Naruto asked even as he prepared to defend himself. Perhaps an offering to appease me. Moka said. Her voice serious but her face held an amused smile. The truth was that she was done fighting, the succubus did not interest her. Her real interest was in the blonde before her. What do you want? Naruto asked, already have an idea. Without answering, Moka stepped up to Naruto and slowly wrapped her arms around his head and pulled them closer together. The forgetful ninja did not resist as she brought her mouth to his neck. It wasn't as bad as he prepared himself for. After a brief poke of pain that quickly disappeared, he actually found himself enjoying the smooth feel of her lips on his neck. Moka softly moaned into his neck and pressed herself deeper onto Naruto. She suddenly stopped as if remembering where she was and pulled back. Taking a step away from Naruto and giving him a look of intrigue as she slowly ran her finger along her lower lip. She even noticed that the small wound from the bite healed up nearly instantly. You continue to be of interest. Moka smiled, beckoning Sukune over. You however are only of use for your blood. I am not like the other Moka. Do not get confused, I am not your friend. She finished and snatched the rosary from Sukune's hand, and reattaching it collapsed into Naruto's arms. Well, that wasn't very nice of her. Naruto said, setting Moka down. Eventually Sukune was charged with taking care of Moka till she awoke and Naruto was carrying a blushing Kurumu to the infirmary. Hehe, kinda funny that after all that has happened today I am finally bringing you to the nurse's office. Naruto laughed at the irony. Why are you helping me? Kurumu asked, her voice filled with emotion. I tried to trick you and hurt your fiends. Shouldn't you hate me? I don't hate you. Sure, we started off on the wrong foot, but I still think we can be friends. Naruto said, smiling down at the girl in his arms. I don't have enough friends that I want to give any up over something like this. Kurumu was eventually left in the infirmary with a puzzled look on her face, thinking about the strange blonde. The next day saw Sukune, Moka and Naruto walking to school in the morning as they talked about Moka and the differences between her sealed and unsealed state. Sukune seemed to be a little scared of the real vampire version of Moka. However, he had decided that he would always be Moka's friend even if she sucked his blood and was scary every once in a while. They were nearly at school when Kurumu showed up with a bright smile. Good morning, she said, sidling up to Naruto. Moka and Sukune seemed to be a bit shocked by Kurumu's chipper attitude, but Naruto just rolled with it and returned her greeting. Here, I made these for you. Kurumu said, handing Naruto a basket of cookies. I wanted to say sorry for how I acted and thank you for saving me. I really do want to be friends. You've inspired me, and I won't give up on finding my destined one. You'll just have to do it in a way that nobody gets hurt. Thanks, Kurumu. These smell great. Naruto said. Hold it. Moka said, jumping between the ninja and the succubus. I am not going to trust you just yet. How do we know that these aren't tainted with some love potion or poison? What? Kurumu gasped. I take great pride in my cooking, I would never do something like that. The two girls continued to argue. Nato couldn't help but get a sense of deja vu. Did his friends from where he came from do stuff like this? Naruto awoke from a particularly nice dream, a small blush across his cheeks. This particular dream involved him fighting an enemy while defending a princess. He couldn't remember all the details, but it was awesome. He was wearing all orange as he fought against some jerk in armor that kept chucking some sort of black dragons at him. Of course, since it was his dream, he won in spectacular fashion as he yelled a name of an attack he couldn't remember and sent his foe spinning away, smashing into an ice wall. Then the scenery suddenly shifted, as dreams sometimes do, from a winter environment to a land of green and flowers. The theme of the dream also seemed to change as the princess he was defending ran up to him, hugged him, thanking him for protecting her and saving her land. The next part of the dream he remembered the most. The princess had taken off her heavy coat and threw it on the ground, relieving that she was only wearing a set of black lingerie underneath. Let me show you exactly how grateful I am. After all, you deserve a reward for what you have done. The princess said. For some reason the princess looked exactly like Kurumu. Dream Kurumu looked amazing. It was a good thing that he was operating on subconscious thought, because otherwise his brain would have short-circuited. Dream Kurumu pulled them down onto her recently discarded coat, wrapping her arms around his neck and ravishing his lips with hers. However, it was only a few seconds into their embrace that the already hazy began to lose clarity, and soon after Naruto awoke. Wow, I've been dreaming a lot lately. The blonde thought. It had been a month since school had started, and while he hadn't made any significant progress recovering his memories, he had been having a lot of dreams, along with some particularly vivid dreams that always seemed to involve either Kurumu or himself less than fully dressed. The dreams always seemed to end after just a few moments of kissing, then the dream would get hazy and he awakened. The most recent dream woke him up about an hour before his alarm was set to go off. Naruto decided that it was useless to try and get back to sleep as he arose, adjusting his boxers from problem the dream had caused his anatomy. Naruto prepared himself for his morning routine as caught a faint scent. That smells like Kurumu. The forgetful ninja thought, and then shook off the idea, discarding it as the dream still messing with his head. After finishing preparing for the day, he used the extra time he had to get some extra studying in. Just as he had feared before coming, he loathed school. Half the stuff they had been taught he had no clue about, even some of the stuff that seemed to be common knowledge to everyone else. Naruto did not know if his lack of knowledge was because he had never learned any of this stuff, or he had forgotten. Regardless, he tried his best and made it through most days without looking like a complete idiot by keeping low to avoid teachers asking him questions. And when that didn't work, cheating, he did feel a little bad about it, but often he would use his sharp eyesight and get the answers from other students. Moka did not know it, but she had saved him several times because she was smart and happened to sit just in front and right of him, allowing him to easily read her neat writing from the corner of his eye. Regardless, he did not want to cheat his way through school, and he was sure that if Moka found out that he often cheated off of her, she would be angry with him. So that left him with spending much of his free time studying. Of course, he hated every second of it, but struggled his way through, reminding himself that if he strengthened his mind he might recover his memories. After studying, Naruto left the dorms and joined the other students heading to school. Up ahead, the path joined with the walkway that lead to the girls' dorms. There, near the fork, he saw a head of pink hair belonging to Moka Akashia, as she stood within arm's reach of Sukune Aono. As the blonde got closer, he watched the scene played out in front of him. The stunningly beautiful girl drew closer to an extremely average guy. Sukune. Moka said with a small blush on her face, as she reached up and grabbed a hold of the boy's vest in a seemingly passionate grip. Moka. Sukune responded, a longing and uncertain look upon his face as their heads drew closer. The illusion of a tender moment was shattered when the pinkette smiled, showing long sharp canine teeth as she tilted her head and bit into the boy's neck. Sukune uttered a quiet squeak as his eyes grew wide and his face paled. Hey Sukune, hey Moka. Naruto greeted, walking up to the pair as the girl pulled away with a sigh. Hello Naruto. Moka chirped with a bright smile on her face before turning back to her meal provider. Thank you for breakfast, your blood is so yummy. Yeah, sure. Sukune muttered in a tone that sounded like he might cry at any second. Why does it seem like you are shocked whenever this happens, buddy? Naruto asked his friend as he pulled out a bandage just large enough to cover both fang marks. You keep letting this happen almost every day. Because my mind is always hoping something else might happen when she gets close like that. Sukune muttered with a frown. Huh. What are you hoping will happen? Both Naruto and Moka asked obliviously at the same time. Never mind. The boy moaned as he turned away from his friends, cursing his luck. Hey guys. Called the voice of a certain succubus. Good morning Kurumu. Moka greeted, a suspicious undertone in her voice. Are you feeling alright? You look tired. I am fine, I was just up late, it'll be fine. The girl responded with a yawn. Really? What were you doing that required you to be up so late? Moka asked, the suspicion now evident. After weeks of putting their differences aside, there was still an air of animosity between the two stunning girls. None of your business. Kurumu snapped back, before she quickly changed the subject. Anyway, how are you guys doing today? I am great. Naruto responded. You should make sure you get enough sleep. I mean, I slept great, even had a dream that you were in. The instant those words were out of his mouth, Kurumu snapped upright, all signs of sleep deprivation gone. Oh really? Kurumu purred sensually, taking a step forward and invading the blonde's personal space. Were you having naughty dreams about me, Naruto? Because if you were, that's fine by me. Maybe later you can tell me what happened, or maybe you want to show me step by step. No. Naruto stuttered as he tried to get his mind to catch up from the images the last three drawn-out words invoked. I was just fighting some bad guy and you happened to be there. Ah, is that it? Kurumu frowned. You shouldn't tease a girl like that, are you sure nothing else happened? And no. Naruto lied again. And anyway, you're the one that is teasing me. Well, maybe. The succubus giggled, stepping back and leaning forward, and bending her torso provocatively. But it's so much fun, especially when it involves you. There was a pause between the four, until Sukune spoke up. Anyway, how is your search going? Any luck yet? No, I am afraid not. The brunette sighed, as she pulled out a little black notebook. There isn't anyone that has come close yet. This particular black notebook had rapidly gained some infamy among the boys in school. Kurumu seemed to have taken Naruto's advice to heart and was going through the male population looking for her destined one. However, it was the rate that Kurumu was going through each boy that caused the notebook to be feared. Every male she dated or even spoke with for more than a minute was logged in the notebook. Simple things were recorded such as their name and several other facts. The reason for all of this was to keep track of all the men that weren't her destined one. Kurumu was a bit vicious in her search, recording each candidate, and then if she felt they were not for her, then she would put a small X by their name. Many of the boys she spoke to did not get more than the minute before crossing them off. Those she seemed to like went on a quick date with her, as of yet no one had been given a second date. Even though many men only spoke with her for a minute, it was surprising the amount of information she was able to charm out of each male, and all of it was jotted down in the black book. For example, telling others your true form was against the rules, asking wasn't, and therefore Kurumu wouldn't get in trouble for the information she retrieved. It's so disappointing, most of the boys at this school can barely hold a conversation with me, most spend the entire time I speak with them staring at my chest. Kurumu whined as she flipped through the notebook before pocketing it. I know I told you to go on some dates to find your destined one, but you are going though the guy's like a fat kid eating popcorn. Naruto muttered. I even saw that one guy brought to tears after you put an X by his name. What kind of man cries after a minute of speaking with a girl, and then getting turned away? Kurumu huffed. He was a sniveling little boy and it didn't help that his true form was a rat man. While I wish you luck in your search. Moka interrupted. We don't need to hear about what you are doing with so many boys. I am not doing anything with them, that's the point. Kurumu snapped back with a glare. This is extremely important and you are making me sound like a harlot. The glare between the two girls might have escalated if Naruto hadn't started walking towards school. Come on Sukune. I am not getting between these two if they decide to kill each other again. Naruto laughed, the quickly picking up his pace as both girls scoffed, their ire now directed at him. Today will be a club activities day. Miss Nekonome chimed. Each club is going to be showing new students what their club is about in order to get new members. Since you all are first years, you will look for a club that interests you. Club membership is mandatory as it will help students better understand human society, by participating in human activities. Many monsters find it difficult to stay in their human form while under stress, so this should help everyone with their disguises. Miss Nekonome. An unnamed student sitting in the middle of the class interrupted. Wouldn't you fail in your transformation because of your tail? The teacher seemed to pause as she looked behind her, confirming that there was indeed her tail swaying there. The teacher's cheeks turned slightly pink before she was instantaneously in front of the nameless student scratching at his face. Anyway, be sure to check out my club, the newspaper club. The teacher chirped, have fun out there. Oops, looks like the plan didn't work out. Naruto though to himself. After leaving the classroom, the four friends had planned on looking at the various clubs together, but the flow of students throughout the halls kept separating the group. Especially as the different members were distracted to a certain booth or Sukune had dragged Moka away from a particularly scary club. Naruto himself had gotten separated as he had stayed behind to threaten the photography club, who had lecherously asked Moka and Kurumu if they could take nude photos of the two girls. In his short time at Yokai Academy, Naruto had learned that the clubs were very important to the continued sanity of the students. Because the school was extremely secluded from the outside world, the students had limited options of ways to spend their free time. For example, students that wanted a bite to eat that wasn't the school cafeteria had very few other options, but there was the cooking club. The cooking club ran a restaurant that changed themes twice a week. For several days it would serve food found at a roadside diner, and then transform into a burger joint. It was a popular place to hang out with friends, and with all the practice the cooking club members got, the food was good too. There was also the secondary benefits of people using the club for place to go on a date the days that the cooking club ran an upscale restaurant. The movie club would post days when they would screen both old and new movies, setting up a projector and selling popcorn. The music club would often join with other clubs to provide even more entertainment to stave off boredom, maybe playing classical music when the cooking club did a fancy restaurant or playing battle music when the various fighting clubs set up public matches. Much of these services were done for a small fee, but it was never overly expensive, mostly just to cover the cost to provide the service. Although Naruto had spent a good deal of the money he had saved from Tokyo buying ramen from the cooking club. Back to the hunt, Naruto had spent quite a while and hadn't seen anything club that really seemed all that great. Come and test your strength. A voice caught his attention. Strap on some pads and fight a quick match. 1,000 yen and if you win double your money. The karate club had set up some padded mats that made a large blue circle. Currently a large member of the club was readying himself for his challenger, who was putting on some chest and head protection. What's the rules? Naruto called out. A very good question. The weaselly-looking club spokesman replied. First rule, you must stay in your human form, and no magic or use of yokai to enhance yourself, only what your human form can do. Second, no grabbing, biting, scratching or groin shots. The match is first to 10 points. Clean hit to the upper body, 1 point. Hit the head, 3 points. Knock your opponent down, 2 points. Force him out of the ring, 3 points. Our club vice captain will judge the match and make sure there is no cheating. As he was saying this, the match had already started, and it wasn't looking good for the challenger. Although Naruto was suspicious of the club judging unfairly, it seemed not to be the case. The match seemed to be called right. The club member had already landed 2 good body hits, the second which had knocked down the challenger, gaining him a total of 4 points. The challenger had landed a lucky hit to the side that didn't look like it had any power behind it, but had still gained him a point. After getting up and circling around each other, the big club member shot out a quick straight front kick that hit into the padded chest of his target, causing the poor guy to stumble back, almost going out of the ring. The big karate member just stood there in his white gi, a confident smirk on his face. The huffing challenger uttered a battle cry and charged forward desperately, his right arm cocked back. It didn't help. His much more skilled opponent countered, bringing his left foot up and around in a circular kick, hitting him in the side of the head and knocking him down. That's head and knock down. 5 points, that's match. Called the spokesman. Alright, who's next? Anyone. Looking over the burly club member, Naruto knew he could beat him, and he knew he had seen much better martial skills, he just couldn't remember where. Reaching into his pocket, Naruto found a 500 yen note. Aw man. Naruto thought, before catching a whiff of a familiar perfume. Kurumu. The blonde called, looking to see the busty girl carrying a basket of cookies. Oh, hey Naruto. Kurumu said, skipping over. Glad I found you again. I was just checking out the cooking club and just made these. Do you want one? Sure, they smell great. Naruto said, biting into a still warm sugar cookie. They're good. Are you going to join the cooking club? I don't know, it seems pretty nice but I don't know anyone there. Kurumu complained. What are you doing? Do you want to join the karate club? Maybe, but first I wanna fight that guy, but I only have 500 yen on me. Naruto sighed. You wouldn't have some money on you, I'll pay you back double. I don't know. Kurumu muttered, looking at the big guy up on the mat, seeing that he was larger than her blonde friend. While I have no doubt you would win in real fight, they're saying no use of yokai. Oh, don't worry about that. Lend me the money and I got this in the bag, guaranteed, he said. What happens if you somehow lose? Kurumu muttered. Well, I am not going to lose, but if the impossible does somehow happen. I'll do whatever you want for like, a week. Naruto replied confidently. With that confidence, how could I doubt you? Kurumu smirked, pulling out a small change purse, secretly enjoying the win-win situation she had gotten into. Here you go, now go and beat that guy. Alright. Naruto cheered, holding up his hand and making his way to the mat. Hey, I'll be next. We have another challenger. The spokesman called, taking Naruto money. Now put on these pads and take off your shoes, we wouldn't want anybody getting hurt. Naruto readied himself, taking off his green jacket and replacing it with the padded vest. He didn't really want to wear it, but it was light and fit well so that it wouldn't interfere with his movements. Looking over, he saw that his foe was standing opposite him, his arms crossed and a tough frown on his face. Are you going to wear any pads? Naruto asked, even though he didn't wear any the last match. Oh, don't worry about me. The boy growled. We in the karate club train our bodies to withstand hits. So at best you might hit me and gain some points, you won't be able to really hurt me. You just worry about yourself. Okay, if you say so. Naruto said as he strapped down the padded headgear. Listen up, said the judge stepping between the two. I am Haiji Miyamoto, vice captain of the club and judge for this. The match begins and ends when I say so. I'll be keeping track of the points and make sure the rules are kept by both fighters. I don't want any nonsense by either of you, and if I step between you and tell you to stop, you better stop until I tell you to start again. I've had a few idiots not listen and I kicked them out of here myself. Both fighters listened to Haiji's instruction as they stood opposite each other, then bowing when instructed, then each taking a fighting stance. Naruto himself got into a closed fist ed ready position that he remembered perfectly, he just couldn't remember things like when, where, or who taught it to him. Begin. Haiji called and almost instantly the other club member attacked. The large boy took one step forward and stuck out with a straight kick just like the one that hit in the last match. However, this was not the last match and Naruto sidestepped easily before sending a jab at his target's face. The boy's eyes grew wide as he barely brought up his arm up to block, however he did so poorly and redirected the strike into his shoulder. Point. Haiji called. I can already tell that you are better than most of the others. The club member muttered. Thanks. Naruto said as he took the initiative, cocking a knee up in a feint and then striking with another jab to the face that was also a feint. However, it did the purpose of bringing the boy's guard up to protect his face. His real attack was Naruto's back foot swinging around and landing solidly into the lower ribs. Point. Haiji called again, stepping forward between the two as his fellow club member leaned forward holding his side. Are you sure you don't need any pads? Naruto smirked. Good hit. The boy grunted, before straightening. Okay, you both ready? Haiji asked. Fight. The karate club member cautiously took the initiative, keeping in his guarded stance, throwing several uncommitted jabs, seemingly to test Naruto's reaction time. The forgetful ninja simply kept at the edge of his range. After a few moments of getting nowhere, the club member attempted something else with a series of kicks. Naruto avoided each of them, backing up or circling around until he was on the edge of the ring. The larger boy, thinking that he had gained an advantage, spun around with a high roundhouse kick, something that Naruto saw coming from a mile away. Dropping low, the blonde ninja swept kick low, avoiding the high kick and knocking his foe's supporting leg out from under him. What was even more impressive was that while the boy was still falling, Naruto spun around, placed his hands on the mat, struck backwards with both feet in a mule kick, catching his opponent while he was still in the air. The force of the double kick sent the karate club member sailing all the way across the mat and out of the ring. As Naruto stood up, the surrounding crowd was silent for a moment before, until a storm of whispers broke out. What the heck was that? Someone asked. How many points was that? 2 for the knockdown, 3 for the ring out, and 1 for the chest hit. Wondered another, or would he get 2 points because he hit with both feet? The amount of points that Naruto earned was never declared as Haiji stepped between them. Alright, I am calling the match, you win. He said to Naruto. I don't think he's up for any more. Naruto felt just a little bad for hitting a bit too hard with his last strike, seeing the other boy curled into a ball and taking short, shallow breaths. You should join the karate club. Haiji told the blonde victor. You have a lot of talent. Yeah, I'll definitely think about it. Naruto said, as he took off the padded gear. Although I am not sure, I already know a fighting style. Really, what style? The vice captain asked. Good question. Naruto redirected unhelpfully. Anyway, if I don't join, do you think it would be alright if I come by and spar a bit? Next time, both of us can wear pads. I am sure that would be alright. I would like to fight you as well. Haiji replied. After redressing and receiving his winnings, Naruto returned to Kurumu. Here you go, 1000 yen for you, and 1000 yen for me. The blonde said with a wide smile. Thanks for the loan, it was really fun. Wow Naruto, I knew you were strong but I didn't know you could fight like that. You looked amazing. Kurumu said with a faint blush on her cheeks. Oh, that was nothing, that guy only had size but was pretty slow. The blonde muttered, scratching the back of his head because of the praise. So what now? I don't know, I've already looked around myself. The brunette answered, and then recalled something. Oh, I heard that Sukune and Moka were joining the swimming club. Hey, errant vampire weakened by water. Huh. I don't know. Why would I know? Naruto answered with a lost look on his face. Wait, how would you not know? Yora Kurumu paused, seemingly realizing something. You're not a vampire, are you? I thought because of your eyes and power that you and Moka were both vampires. That's the rumor that has gone around the entire school. Nope. Pretty sure I am not a vampire, and definitely not if water weakens them. He shrugged. I mean, I took a shower this morning and nothing odd happened. Well, maybe we can go check it out. I haven't been to the swimming club, it might be fun. Also, I can show everyone how great I look a swimsuit. The succubus said mischievously, dragging her blonde friend away. When the two first years arrived at the pool, they were greeted by a pretty swim club member. Said club member eyed Naruto hungrily, directing them to some changing rooms, mentioning that they had spare swimsuits if they didn't bring their own. As soon as Naruto stepped out of the changing rooms, a strange change occurred around the pool. Where before everyone had been playing and swimming, most of them were now looking in Naruto's direction. The girls seemed to have a variety of expressions on their faces, ranging from shock, hunger, or a blazing blush across their face. The boys, however, seemed to have a look of anger on their face, often looking between the girl they were with and back at Naruto. The blonde saw the looks, and looked behind himself, oblivious to the true cause of the attention. What the boy didn't realize was that because he was only wearing swim trunks, his upper body was exposed to every eye at the pool, gaining him the animosity of the men, and lustful looks from the girls. Being trained as a warrior from a young age, Naruto's physique was on a different level than everyone else there. Every muscle on his body was lean and strong. Each muscle group was extremely defined, but not overly bulky. Wow, Naruto. Kurumu's dreamy voice said from beside the boy. Looking over, the blonde saw his friend wearing a little yellow bikini, as well as a glazed look on her face. Yeah, wow. Naruto muttered, looking back at the succubus, and how she somehow perfectly filled out her swimsuit. The moment was broken, when Sukune's voice called from the pool. Naruto, Kurumu, what are you doing here? We thought about going for a swim. Naruto answered. Where's Moka? Don't know. The boy answered. I wanted to swim together, but she said something about me not listening to her and ran off. Hello, you two. Greeted a seductive voice from an attractive woman sliding over to the side of the pool. I am Tamao Ichinos, captain of the swim club. Sukune here has been thinking about joining, he has great talent. Moka Akashia didn't seem like she wanted to swim, so I suggested she try to find another club. Well, that doesn't seem very nice. Naruto muttered. Something about what she said seemed like there was more to the story. You know what, I am going to look for her. I'll be back as soon as I find her. Oh, Naruto, don't go. Kurumu pleaded, grabbing a hold of the boy's arm, bringing it into her pillowy valley. She'll be fine. Nah, I'll just be gone for a few minutes. The forgetful ninja said, walking back to the changing rooms. Are you sure you don't want to stay? Tamao called from the pool. The water's perfect right now. Thanks, but I won't be long, he answered, heading for the exit. After a few minutes of following Moka's scent, Naruto faintly heard her voice. No. I am sick of this, I just want to be like everyone else, then I could go swimming. Moka's voice moaned. I just want to be normal. Why would you want to be normal? The blonde ninja asked, rounding the corner, seeing Moka crouched on the ground, tears shining in her eyes. Normal is so boring. Moka sniffed, wiping at her eyes, and turning away. Not right now, Naruto, what are you even doing here? Looking for you. The boy responded. I think you are putting too much importance on being normal. Nobody's really normal, especially not here. Even Sukune, who might be the most normal guy the first have ever met, is the oddball at this school. Why stress about what you aren't? You can only be you. I mean, I think you're pretty awesome. Moka sniffed again, a faint smile on her face. Why do you make it sound so easy? You're really smart. That wasn't smart. Naruto laughed, thinking over why he had the idea, a ghost of a memory playing across his mind. I think that I have spent a lot of time wishing that I was someone else, or something else. What do you mean? Moka asked, concern evident on her voice. You and Sukune are the only ones who know that my memory is messed up. Naruto said, trying to hold on to the memory fragment. I can't remember everything, but I think that there's something that I couldn't change and I cried about it all the time, so I decided I wasn't going to cry anymore. So I did something else. What did you do? Moka asked, hearing him slow and pause in his speech. I can't remember. Naruto sighed, shrugging. Oh well, I am sure I'll remember eventually. It doesn't help to worry about something I can't change. Thanks for cheering me up, Naruto. Moka smiled, drying away the last of her tears. I wish I was as strong as you. No way, you're already really strong, but sometimes it helps to be reminded. The amnesiac said, holding out his hand. Come on, let's go, we can pick up Sukune. We still have a few hours, so can get him and look for a club together. That sounds great. The young vampire said, taking his hand. If I am right, it sounds like Sukune's ability to attract trouble has kicked in again. Naruto said, hearing the distinct sound of screaming as they approached the pool. The two arrived just in time to see members of the swim club biting into the prospective male members. No senpai Yamate! Screamed one boy as he was bitten into, his body then rapidly aging. Sukune! Moka yelled, seeing her friend in the grip of a transformed swim club captain. What are you doing back here? Tamao scowled. Worthless monsters that can't even swim. What? The pinkett gasped, a look of trepidation on her face. Well, that's the rumor anyway. Two vampires using Sukune as a meal ticket. Tamao said, pulling the boy in her grip closer. Not like I blame you, he has such a lovely human-like scent. Why can't I have a bit of a snack as well? It's not like you could stop me. Mermaids are strongest in the water, unlike vampires. Water. Naruto thought, there was something he could do regarding water. I am going to teach you how to walk on water. A memory echoed in his mind. I've been told that you already know how to climb a tree with chakra, this is a variation. The forgetful ninja could recall a man wearing all black seeming breaking the laws of physics. Just like before, with all of his memories he could not recall anyone's name or face. Nonetheless, the memories of his own abilities came back to him in a rush. You can't. The voice of Kurumu called out, breaking Naruto from his nostalgia. You won't be able to help if you get wet. I don't care, I won't sit and do nothing when my friends need help. The pink-haired vampire yelled, running to the edge of the pool, only to be stopped a second before she jumped in. Naruto? She questioned, looking back, seeing the boy gripping her arm to hold her back. If you don't function so well around water, why don't you let me save Sukune? Naruto smirked confidently. No, Naruto, there are too many of them. Kurumu called, smacking down a mermaid by the side of the pool. They are just too strong in water. You two are pathetic. Hissed a nameless mermaid, swimming over and splashing some water onto them. We're not going to kill anyone, just leave us alone to enjoy our meal. Moka cringed as the water made contact with her, electricity arcing off of her body. Gently pushing the weakened girl behind him, Naruto stepped forward. You know, for a bunch of pretty girls you are all acting pretty ugly. Any response was cut off as everyone saw the blonde step out onto the water, placing all of his weight onto the liquid surface and not sinking. Now I really don't like people hurting my friends, so last chance, let my friend go or I am going to use force. How are you doing that? Tamao gasped, now using Sukune more as a shield than keeping him captive. What are you? You should already know that telling is against the school rules. The boy smirked mischievously. It doesn't matter. The swim club captain snapped. You've entered our territory, and you do look so yummy, we will just have to take you both. Just as she finished her threat, Naruto darted forward with great speed, swinging his foot at Tamao's head like it was a soccer ball and he was doing a penalty kick. With a gasp, the mermaid sank into the pool, barely dodging the kick that could have taken her head off. However, in doing so she also let go of Sukune. Reaching down into the pool, Naruto grabbed his friend, pulling up onto his shoulders in a fireman's carry. "How are you doing this?" Sukune wailed. "Talk later, fight now." The blonde grunted. "I am coming, Naruto," Kurumu called, winging her way over to the surrounded boys, the other mermaids of the swim club closing in. Despite his advantageous positioning, Naruto knew that with Sukune on his shoulders he couldn't evade for long. He did not need to wait long as he lifted Sukune above his head as Kurumu flew past, grabbing a hold of the teen. "Thanks, Kurumu," Naruto yelled, just in time to dodge a mermaid leaping out of the water towards him. The blonde barely dodged a hand that swiped at him from the water, Tamao following soon after. "It doesn't matter that Sukune got away, we still have you." "Sorry, but I am not something that you can just take," Naruto said, using his chakra and leaping into the air. "I won't let you get away," Tamao hissed, using her powerful tail and following the boy into the air. "Listen, lady, just leave me alone, also you are wide open," Naruto groaned, kicking the fish girl in her face. As soon as gravity pulled the two back down, Naruto landed much more gracefully than the mermaid he had just hit. Seeing an opening provided by the shock of seeing their captain beaten, Naruto dashed out of the pool. Gathering up his friends, they all left the crazy swim club. The next day Moka didn't show up for class. The reason why may have been that soon after getting wet she seemed to be more and more tired until she left the group for her dorm. At the end of the club day, the group of friends hadn't decided on any club and were thankful that they had gotten away from a tricky situation without more trouble. "Hey, Naruto, do you know where Moka is? She hasn't missed a day of class before," Sukune asked his blonde friend during lunch of the second day the girl wasn't seen. "I don't know, it isn't like her," the amnesiac muttered, turning to the blue-haired girl beside him. "Kurumu, would you mind checking on her after class?" The girl's face took on an annoyed look before responding. "Oh, I guess so. Hello, my students," said the chipper voice of Miss Nekonome. "I've been looking for you." "Hey sensei," responded Naruto. "What's up?" "Well, you three, as well as Miss Akashia, are the only students in my class that haven't signed up for club yet. It's not our fault," the swimming club Sukune started, before he was cut off by Kurumu. "Some of the clubs were a little too enthusiastic for us to join and we didn't have enough time to decide on one." The succubus interrupted, not wanting to cause trouble by bringing it up to a teacher. "Well, since you haven't found any club, may I make a suggestion?" Shizuka chirped. "Why not join the newspaper club? We don't have very many members and I am afraid we might be shut down without some new recruits." "A newspaper club sounds pretty normal," Sukune muttered. "Also, if there aren't many other members there shouldn't be too many problem, right?" "It might be fun," Naruto said. "I think we should all join," a chipper voice declared. "Moka!" Sukune exclaimed, the boy extremely happy to see his crush. "It sounds fun," Moka claimed. "We can all be together then." "Excellent," Miss Nekonome said. "I will get the forms for all of you." Club activities started just a few days later, and it was nice that the club room was Miss Nekonome's class and therefore Naruto's homeroom. "Well then everyone, thanks for joining my club," Miss Nekonome cheered. "So let's begin the activities of the Yokai Academy newspaper club." Kurumu, Naruto, Moka, and Sukune looked around the club room trying to find the other members, but finding none. Teacher," Sukune muttered. "Are we the only members?" "Don't be silly," she hummed, then was interrupted by the sound of the door opening. "Oh good, here he is now." "Sorry I am late," said a handsome boy from the doorway, holding 2 bundles of roses. "Greeting, I am the president of the newspaper club. Teacher told me that there would be some lovely ladies in the club, these are for you." Naruto's eye narrowed, this guy reminded him of someone else but of course couldn't remember who. "Who are you?" the blonde muttered, seeing the guy hand his friends some roses. "Jine Morioka," Kurumu answered factually, reading from her black notebook. "Second year, known for having multiple girlfriends but no relationship lasting more than 2 months." An uncomfortable smile appeared on the boy's face as he heard the succubus words. "Doing some research on me. I guess that will suit you well here." How did you even get that? I talked to you a while ago at lunch, then got some more information about you. She answered. Naruto glanced over at the notebook, slightly curious if he had been eliminated as a potential destined one. Why does he have a slash by his name? Naruto asked, seeing something other than an X by Jin's name. I haven't seen you do that before. Kurumu scoffed, as she pulled her notes away from Naruto's gaze. It means I am not sure I like him but don't know him well enough to cross him out or not. The uncomfortable smile on Jeannie's face turned to a grimace with those words, and any response was cut off when the teacher started to speak again. As you seem to already know, Jin is a second year and the only other member to the club. Shizuka said. Just ask him anything in regards to the club. I am always reliable. The boy said, seemingly regaining his confidence. Since we are all in the same club, you should call me Jin. Anyway, there is a teacher meeting so I have to go. Sorry. Make friends everyone, okay. Miss Nekonome said in a rush, leaving the club without its advisor. After a moment's pause, Jin cleared his throat. Alright, let's get down to business. As it should be obvious, the goal of this club is to publish the school newspaper. We will be reporting on a variety of topics. If you think that sounds easy, think again. We will be gathering information in a school full of monsters, will be put into dangerous situations time and again for the sake of reporting. You had best prepare yourselves. Ah yeah. Naruto cheered, Jin's short speech exciting Naruto. Something about gathering information in dangerous situations called to something in him. I was afraid this club would be boring. This sounds so much cooler than the karate club. There was a pause as everyone looked at the excited blonde. Well, now I feel a bit bad. I was mostly messing with you. Often we just report on normal stuff. Let's just set up a few posters and talk about the club today. Ah. Naruto moaned. Well, do you have any old newspapers from previous years, so I can get an idea about what is expected of us? The odd look flashed over Jin's face before it was replaced by a smile. Sure, I have some over here, he said, walking over to a file cabinet. Naruto started looking over the previous school papers as the rest of the group were busying themselves with some posters. The previous papers weren't all that special. For a school full of monsters, the paper seemed to be filled with mostly mundane news. Despite that fact, there were some unique articles, like the horticultural club getting in trouble after breeding some carnivorous plants of unusual size. The boys' reading were interrupted by Sukune. Jin, what are you doing? Please stop. Naruto finished up what he had been reading before getting up and walking to where Sukune and the club president were arguing. What's going on here? Moka asked. Oh, Sukune just said he got an eyeful of your panties. Jin chuckled. What? No. It wasn't like, I mean. The boy stumbled over his words, before suddenly two palms slapped him across both cheeks. Both girls gave an angry hump before marching away. A chill shot down Naruto's spine. Something about perverts and women angered by such acts called to something primal within the amnesiac. Ha ha, oh boy, you really are. Jin laughed before being cut short. Each of Naruto's hands had shot out, latching onto Sukune and his shoulders. Each boy looked from the hand connected to their shoulders, looking up at the blonde as he seemed to have grown in size, his face shadowed, eyes glowing. I am not exactly sure what is going on here. Naruto said, his voice reverberating eerily. But it must stop. This is a terrible path that leads to great pain. Ah yeah. Jin gulped. Anyway, thanks for today, the meeting is over. We'll meet again soon. This is so unfair. Sukune whined, why did they hit me? Naruto, you believe me, right? Believe you about what? Naruto asked, the odd chill in his spine still affecting him. That I didn't didn't mean to. Sukune stuttered. Okay, I saw their panties, but not on purpose, it was Jin that did it first. Sukune said Naruto, his neck snapping towards his friend, his eyes aglow. I can't be dragged back into a situation like this. The chill had returned full force as unclear memories dance around the edges of his mind. I know someone, he was a pervert. Naruto paused, searching for the words as he tried to recall exactly who this pervert was. No, that's not it, he was a self-proclaimed super pervert. Yes, that's it. He was somehow able to harness the power of perversion. Nothing stopped him when his perverted mind centered on women. He would take every opportunity to peep on women. Even when he was caught and beaten by the righteously angry girls, he would take it with a smile on his face. The beatings only making him more powerful, more perverted. Naruto, are you okay? Sukune asked, now concerned as his friend's voice grew more alarmed. I don't think I want to remember. Naruto gasped. I would often be caught in the collateral damage from his actions. He even tried to force me to learn to get a girl's 3 measurements at a glance, but I resisted, I overcame. However, I did not come out unscathed. I have seen how terrifying a girl can be when defending her dignity from a pervert. Don't pull me into something like that, Sukune. Okay buddy. Sukune muttered, his hands up warding off his disturbed friend. Naruto seemed to gain some control of himself, shaking his head to clear his thought. I am going to find something to eat, some food will help. Yeah, you go do that. The normal human agreed. The next day Naruto seemed to be back to normal, or as normal as an amnesiac could be. However, Sukune and Moka were still at odds, the vampire still refusing to talk to the boy for peeping on her. It didn't seem that anything was going the poor boy's way, as his distracted mind caused him to do poorly in class. What I hold in my hand is a vial of quicksilver. Professor Richard said, holding up a vial of bright silvery liquid. It has long been known for its magical properties. Even humans have many myths regarding this substance. It is toxic to human, however it is extremely dangerous to certain types of supernaturals, and is known scientifically by Mr. Aono. What is quicksilver commonly known by? Sukune started, startled out of his depressed thought, and searching his knowledge of things dangerous to supernaturals. Adamantium. Any disappointment from Professor Richard was concealed by his voluminous hood. No, Mr. Aono, quicksilver is known scientifically as mercury. It is also rumored to be one of the ingredients for the mystical philosopher's stone, which I will try to create now. The class watched as the lich pulled out an odd assortment of materials. Now, the last time I attempted this there was a rather violent reaction. However, I am convinced that I failed because I did not use enough heat in the fusing process. Run for it. Someone yelled. The previous statement was enough warning for the students. The science teacher had earned a reputation for performing dangerous experiments around and often with students. After waiting a few moments, the blonde confirmed that his other friends were making their way to the exit. Moka was dragging Sukune from the room, using her supernatural strength to push past other students, pulling Sukune into the safety of the hall despite being angry with him. Using his left hand to open the window, Naruto's right hand grasped Kurumu's wrist, pulling her towards him, picking the succubus up and leaping out of the open window in the same motion. The forgetful ninja made it just below the window before there was a sound of whoosh boom. Exploding behind him. Naruto landed, pulling his busty friend close, protecting her from any flying glass. Looking back, he saw the fireball disperse and a low-pained moan sound from the shattered windows. Mr. Shirts, it seems you are the only student that was interested enough to stay for the experiment. I don't know why the others shut the door so violently as they left. Sounded the voice of Professor Richard. It looks like you are slightly injured, just some second-degree burns, nothing that. Oh, that burn has split and is bleeding. Don't worry, I will cauterize it for you. Whoosh. Naruto looked back at his friend in his arms as a pained scream sounded from the upper window. She seemed to be fine, but her face was red and she was breathing heavily. Yahoo! Kurumu cheered. You saved me. Thank you. Naruto didn't get a chance to say anything before the girl's hands hooked around his head, bringing his face into the marshmallowy softness of her chest. After Kurumu's passionate embrace, the girl had jumped away from him and excused herself, muttering a hasty goodbye. Naruto did not know what was going on with his friend, passing it off as girl stuff, and therefore something he shouldn't get involved in. Science class was right before lunch, so he made his way to the cooking club room because today they were doing a barbecue, and he still had money from the karate match. Walking with his hands laced behind his neck, Naruto marched to the cooking club room thinking about the delicious meats they would provide. He was just about to round a corner when he heard some laughter before something small ran into him. Looking down, the blonde saw a little girl that had been knocked over after colliding with him. Ow! The girl moaned before looking up at what she had run into. Get back here, you brat! Yelled an angry voice from the direction the girl had just run from. Looking around the corner, Naruto saw a couple of boys hopping their direction with their shoelaces tied together. Looking between the girl and the hobbled boys, a sense of deja vu shot across his mind. I sense something, a feeling I haven't felt since. Naruto paused. Get out of my way. The girl said, getting to his feet, seemingly regaining some confidence. The girl ran off, the boy looking back at her victims as they fell down, foolishly not taking off their shoes. Yes. Naruto hissed hungrily, sniffing the air to track the small girl by scent. After a few minutes of tracking, he discovered the girl. She was crouched beside a tree, alone inside the dry dead woods. They're all just jerks. Her small voice sobbed. They don't understand me. I knew it. Naruto hummed from the tree he was behind. Who's there? The girl squeaked, pulling up a odd stick with a heart on the end. Sorry about that, short stuff. Naruto said, slowly stepping out from behind his cover. I just had this feeling about you, turns out I was right. Righteous pranking. What do you mean? The girl asked, recoiling from the predatory smile on Naruto's face. Sorry, let me introduce myself. I am Naruto Uzumaki. The boy said politely. I am Yukari Sendo. The now identified girl responded. I've heard of you. You are often seen around the lovely Moka Akashia. Rumors said that you were both vampires. However, since you were seen walking on water, there isn't any good theories about your true form. What do you want with me anyway? You reminded me of myself, when I was younger. Naruto smiled nostalgically. I forgot, but now I remember, or at least a bit. What do you remember? Yukari asked, slightly bewildered. Why couldn't you before? It's complicated. Naruto answered unhelpfully. But I pranked to get any relief from the pain of loneliness. You. The young girl stumbled over her words, not sure what to say. You don't have to be alone. If you want, I can be your friend. Naruto said with a smile. He really couldn't say what drew him to the girl, it was just something about her reached out to him. Again he was reminded of his own loneliness, and that slowly he wasn't so alone anymore. He wanted to help Yukari, even though he had just met her. You don't understand me. Yukari yelped stubbornly. Nobody at this school does. Naruto watched as the girl in front of him pulled out the strange stick from before. Magic wand. The girl yelled, brandishing her wand, as suddenly several dead branches animated and attacked Naruto. Naruto did not seem very fazed as he defended himself and with a few quick strikes broke the sticks, also breaking the enchantment on them. Resourceful. Naruto smiled. With another wave of her wand, Naruto's belt came undone, the button of his pants popping open. However, before gravity could take effect, the blonde caught his clothing and resecured everything. Embarrassing. He nodded appreciatively. What are you doing? Yukari asked, unsettled by the blonde's strange actions. Oh, I am just admiring your skills. Naruto muttered, waiting for Yukari to make another move. Don't mess with me. The small girl yelled, brandishing her wand again. Naruto had no warning, just an itch in the back of his head. Suddenly bringing his hand up, he palmed a wash basin, shooting down at his head with a loud tonk. Unpredictable. Naruto said gleefully. Where did this even come from? It reminds me of something else, something with the power to come from nowhere and provide redemption. While Naruto was searching though his memories about mystical inanimate objects that could deliver someone from danger, Yukari took the opportunity to run away. Because of his detour with Yukari, he only had time to scarf down a quick lunch, before Naruto returned to class. The class schedule at Yokai Academy was odd. Classes such as language, history, math took place in homeroom. Other classes such as art, home ec, and gym were done separately, splitting students from the rest of the classmates. After lunch, Naruto had gym, and none of his friends had gym at the same time. However, Mizore did share gym with him. When school first started, the quiet girl hadn't showed up to any of her classes, but that was slowly changing. Mizore was increasingly showing up to gym, as well as some of her other classes. After a quick greeting between the two friends was exchanged before they separated to the changing rooms. When classes finally ended, Naruto headed to the cooking club so that he could get something to eat without being rushed. The cooking club was running an Italian restaurant and Naruto bought himself some spaghetti. The Italian staple wasn't as good as ramen, but the blondes still found it delicious. After finishing and paying for his meal, Naruto left, deciding on what to do for the rest of the day. He hadn't heard that they were having a club meeting, so just to make sure he made his way to the club room. After seeing no one there, Naruto elected to go to his dorm and study for the rest of the day. From what he had heard, the school would soon be having exams, and he didn't want to have to cheat his way through the tests. After leaving the school premises, Naruto's plan to go study was interrupted when he saw his friend Sukune running toward him. The average boy was fleeing from a mob of women, and was heading in his direction. Naruto's first reaction was to get out of the way, until Sukune called out to him. "Naruto, help!" the boy cried, running up to him. "Whoa, what's going on?" Naruto asked, getting into a position, equally ready to run or fight. "It's not my fault," Sukune yelped, hiding behind his friend from the feminine mob. Any additional explaining was cut off when the first girls arrived. "Don't get in our way, unless you want us to give you the same that's coming to him." Wait 1 second. Naruto placated the group of girls as they surrounded the two boys. "What is going on? Why are you chasing Sukune? That creep peeped at us when we were changing," one girl among the mob accused. Naruto's face took on a shocked look as he realized what a terrifying situation he had wound up in. "Sukune. Is what this mob says true?" "Well, you see." The average boy stumbled over his words. "Well, yes, but I didn't mean to. See, he admits it." A girl screeched from among the crowd. The terrified look on Naruto's face changed to one of remorse as the amnesiac placed his hands on his friend's shoulders. "Hey, buddy," Naruto said, his face downcast. "We are surrounded. I fear there is only one way out of this situation." "What are you talking about?" Sukune muttered, as Naruto used his grip on his shoulders and turned him around to face the mob. "Listen, ladies." Naruto addressed the mob. "I am sure there is an explanation for all of this, so while I agree that Sukune did wrong, I ask that you don't harm him too greatly." A murmur of agreement sounded throughout the crowd, as a look of manly determination appeared on Sukune's face. "I see," the boy said grimly. "No other way then. Listen, Naruto, this is all Jin's fault. He said something about making Moka his woman. I don't know what is going on, but make sure that nothing happens to her." "Yeah, buddy," Naruto said solemnly, pushing his friend gently forward. "Sorry about this." "It's okay, no hard feelings." Sukune yelped as the girls collapsed on him. Turning, Naruto walked away from his friend. The boy fought back some manly tears as he heard his friend's yelps, another casualty of the scourge of perversion. Naruto attempted to do what his friend had requested, however he had an extremely hard time finding the pink-haired girl. Her scent was scattered around the school, so he had a hard time tracking her. There were so many difficulties that it started to get dark before he got a lead. After checking the dorms, he caught both Moka's and Jin's scents on the wind. Quickly making his way upwind, the blonde saw some movement on the roof. Quietly running up the side of the school, he heard the voices of his fellow club members. "Isn't it terrible about Sukune?" Jin's voice sounded as Naruto reached the top. "Don't worry, tonight I will console you." Looking over the top, the forgetful ninja saw Moka and Jin, their backs turned to him. Jin's right arm pulled the pinkett into his side as his left came up in what seemed to be a hug. "Kya!" Moka screamed. "No. Let go, what are you doing? What's wrong? Am I not holding you tenderly enough?" Jin asked, a haughty tone to his voice. "No, you just felt me up." Moka screeched, trying to push away from the elder boy. Anger bubbled up within Naruto. Here Jin was taking advantage of his friend, and from what Sukune said, he was the root cause of the feminine mob from earlier. "What's going on here?" Naruto growled, making himself known. "Naruto." Both Moka and Jin gasped, turning around. "Oh, hello," Jin said, seemingly recovering from his shock, stepping forward but still holding onto Moka's wrist. "I didn't expect to see you here." "Yeah, I guess so," the blonde grumbled, stepping forward. "So my friend Sukune told me something odd was going on." "Sukune?" Jin questioned with a smile. "Sad, what is going on there? Turns out the kid is a nasty peeping Tom." I even have pictures of him outside the girls' changing room. Jin pulled a photograph out of an inner pocket, and showing it to him. Naruto's sharp eyes saw the evidence provided for him. There was so much about this situation that was off, he hardly knew where to start. Listen, I am not buying what you are selling, Jin. Naruto muttered. First off, I know Sukune pretty well and he hasn't struck me as a peeper. Also, see those pictures, he doesn't have a lecherous look on his face. I know some huge pervs and that isn't the look of one. Also, how did you get pictures of Sukune so soon? This only happened a few hours ago, that doesn't seem like a lot of time to spread pictures around. Finally, this seems really convenient for you. Here you are alone with Moka, saying that you will console her. Isn't it nice that Sukune isn't here when Moka and him often hang around each other? Jin's face took on multiple uncomfortable and guilty expressions as Naruto picked his plans apart. He's right, Moka said, twisting her arm out of Jin's grasp, rushing over to Naruto's side. I believe my friends. You didn't plan this, did you? How admirable. Jin chuckled, as Yoki surrounded him. You are such a remarkable woman. On nights like this when the moon is full, I can't control myself. The two friends watched as the president of the newspaper club's body started to shift and transform. Hair grew all along his body, his face extending, teeth growing long and sharp. A werewolf. Moka gasped, as Jin's body finished changing as he released a long piercing howl. All of the sudden Jin disappeared and something struck the side of Naruto's face. The boy was unprepared and he nearly fell from the blow. Naruto. Moka cried, seeing her friend recoil from the unexpected hit. Pathetic. Jin laughed. I get rid of Sukune and now you have to get in my way. Why don't you just leave? Moka and I need to be alone. A warming sensation spread through Naruto's body as those words pushed him over the edge. Jin just confirmed that he was to blame for all of this. Whatever he intended with Moka, he wasn't going to allow it. Get out of here, Jin ordered, as he moved again. This time Naruto was better prepared and able to see his attack. Jin was only a blur, but he was still able to mount a defense. Barely able to bring his arm up and defend his face, Naruto blocked the attack. This time it was more than just a strike. Claws ripped into his sleeve, spinning him around. Jin, please stop, please. Moka begged, grabbing a hold of his friend's shoulders, looking down at his torn sleeve. The cloth was shredded, but the skin underneath only had some light scratches, that were quickly disappearing. You can't fight me, why are you still here? What is Moka to you anyway? Jin growled. Why do you fight? A voice echoed in Naruto's mind as a memory arose. Is there someone precious to you? People become truly strong when they fight to protect something precious. You don't have to fight. Moka whispered, breaking the blonde from his trip down memory lane. You can go, I will be fine. Like hell. Naruto growled, cutting of any more defeated talk from the girl. The forgetful ninja turned to the werewolf, his now red eyes glaring back. Moka is one of my precious people. I am not going to let you get your way here. The boy said, his hand slowly reaching for the rosary on the girl's neck, giving it a quick tug. And I doubt she will either. As soon as the seal was released, a blast of Yoki surrounded the girl, turning her hair silver and her eyes red. What? Growled Jin. Just as I heard, a vampire. Even while in your true form you're beautiful. I have to have you as my woman. Like that's going to happen. Naruto said, seeing the werewolf lecherously leer at the girl beside him. Ha, like you could stop me. Jin jeered. Look at you two, both with red eyes, the smell of power just rolling off of you. Both of you are very scary, but that won't be enough. We werewolves get more powerful by the light of the moon, and tonight is the full moon. It doesn't matter how strong you are. I will beat you both and make Moka my own. You have a very inflated opinion of yourself. The silver-haired Moka uttered, seemingly tired of not having a say. Do you really think you have what it takes to be with me? I will just have to show you who's boss. Jin said. Stepping forward, his wolf-like face pulled into a smile. Don't mess with me, Moka commanded as she struck forward with her hand. However, the silver-haired girl hit nothing but air as Jin zipped past her attack. What are you aiming at? Jin jeered, bolting around the roof in a blur. You can't touch me, I am just too fast. What incredible speed. I can barely see him. Moka muttered. Naruto was doing his best to keep track of Jin's movements as he backed into the silver-haired Moka. What are you doing? Moka demanded, feeling the boy's actions. I don't need your. The girl was cut off when Naruto's hand shot out, pulling her down. The girl's red eyes grew wide as she was forced to duck, and a dangerous whoosh of air shot over her head. Standing up again, Moka eyed the boy that helped her, begrudgingly thankful for his help. Watch out, Naruto said, taking a quick step around Moka and blocked a straight-armed blow from the werewolf. What the hell, you blocked me? Jin gasped, withdrawing his hand and taking several steps back. Looking back to the full moon still shining bright. What are you? No one should be able to keep up with my speed. I am just that awesome. Naruto gloated. You're fast, but I have seen faster. Yeah, right. Jin growled as he started to move again, slowly building up speed for intimidation value. Nobody is as fast as me. Listen, Moka. The blonde whispered, watching as Jin circled around him. With his speed, he determines how this fight goes. We should fight together, and take him by surprise. Very well. Moka sighed, bringing herself closer to her new combat partner so that she would be ready to move when he did. Kick high. Naruto commanded as he suddenly stepped forward, sinking low in a sweep kick. Following the boy's instruction, the vampire stuck his foot straight out, right above Naruto. Suddenly, she stumbled backwards. An unexpected force had glanced off her heel, knocking her off balance. Looking behind her at the wisp of movement, she saw Jin. He was holding his side right above his hip. Lucky hit. He growled. Zipping off again, it seemed Jin had decided that Naruto needed to be dealt with first. Appearing at the blonde's side, Jin struck in a flurry of blows, the boy barely blocking the strikes. He would wear the younger boy down, then deal with Moka. The werewolf's plan was interrupted. Moka used her classmate's shoulders, vaulting up and kicking straight at Jin's head. Jin barely dodged, Moka's foot ruffling the fur on his face. This is ridiculous. The werewolf gasped. That kick could have taken my head off. Where did your confidence from before go? Moka scoffed. How pathetic. Women won't come to you willing, so you decide to take one by force. Now it seems that you aren't strong enough to do that. She's right, Jin. Naruto agreed. Being a perv is bad, but acting like this is the worst. I don't think this is really like you anyway. Calm down. Calm down. How can I on a night like this? The werewolf huffed, looking at Moka and drooling. With the moon so bright and Moka like that. I mean, look at her, she's drop dead gorgeous. Okay. Naruto said, glancing over at the beautiful vampire beside him. I can understand that. So let me put this in a way you will understand. Calm down, or else. Oh, I see competition. A growl came from the werewolf's throat. You won't take Moka from me. Jin dashed forward again, using a variety of tactics to break the pair down. However, each attempt was countered. If he used full-speed attacks, Naruto would do something to intercept him. If he focused on one of the duo, the other would counter nearly instantly and stop his focused attack. After a while of moving and fighting at full speed with little results, Jin was beginning to tire. He's slowing down. Naruto whispered over to his partner. Agreed, I am able to track some of his movements now. Moka purred, it seemed she was enjoying the fight. We just need to get an opening to land a good hit or two. I'll think of a. Naruto was cut off. Any other conversation was interrupted when Jin moved in again. Swiping at Moka's head, the girl brought up her right fist and blocked the attack before swinging her left leg in a kick. Simultaneously, Naruto stepped around her, sending a kick of his own. Jin jumped back, barely missing the pincer attack. An idea popped into Naruto's head as they both faced off against the older boy. You said I was competition. Naruto smirked, looking over at Moka and winking. If this was a competition, you should know that you don't stand a chance. The blonde's arm came up and around the shoulders of the silver-haired girl. Naruto could feel Moka's muscles tense slightly, but she completed the trick by leaning her head onto his shoulder with a coy smile. What are you doing? Jin gasped, slowly moving forward, his hands extended, intent on pulling the two apart. Get off of her. As soon as he was in arm's reach, the pair acted together, their own hands shooting forward, grasping onto each of the werewolf's extended wrists. That was too easy. Naruto muttered, securing his grip on the now wide-open yokai. What a fool. Moka huffed. Their close positioning allowed the pair to move as one, each of them sending their knees into the solar plexus of the werewolf. The blow knocked all the wind from Jin. He recoiled but wasn't released from the grip of the two teens. Why would you think that a fool such as yourself would ever have a chance with me? Moka demanded, and then showing extreme flexibility as she kicked straight upward under Jin's muzzle. The kick caused Jin to be released, and because of the positioning of the kick he might have gotten a free peep show if he wasn't already seeing stars. However, even though he was stunned, he was still standing. He wasn't given a chance to recover as Naruto grabbed both of Moka's wrists. Planting his feet, he pulled Moka around himself in a full circle. You should know your place. Moka commanded, finishing the swing, her foot flashing out and smashing into the older monster. Sorry. Jin's voice whined out as he sailed off the roof and into the forest surrounding the school. His flight ended in a crunch of broken branches. Ouch. Naruto muttered, looking out, but not seeing his club captain. You don't think we hit him too hard, do you? No. Moka disagreed, moving beside him. Werewolves are tough S-class monsters, and the full moon just makes them faster and tougher. He should be fine, eventually. So are you alright? Naruto asked, seeing that her cloths were torn in multiple spots. I am fine. This was enjoyable. Moka smirked. I haven't had a fight like that in a long time. Besides, there aren't many that are strong enough to work as a team with me. You fought well. Thanks, Naruto grinned, scratching the back of his neck. It felt natural, like I've been working as a team for a long time. Are you still having problems with your memory? The vampire asked as she sauntered away from the edge of the roof. Such the enigma. You are very strong, you can't possibly be a human. I don't know. Naruto said, following her. There's a lot of humans out there. How do you know that there aren't any others as awesome as me? Yes. Moka exhaled, looking over, seeing his eyes had shifted back to blue. There certainly are a lot of them, and while I haven't met all humans, I doubt there are any as unique as you. Well, I will figure it out someday. The forgetful ninja said confidently. It feels so good to be out for a bit. Moka said, stretching her arms. I want to thank you, by the way. For what? Naruto questioned. For watching out for the other Moka. The silver-haired Moka clarified. She isn't as strong as me. I am glad you have been around to help. Oh, that's nothing. I will always protect my friends. He declared, a smirk on his face. So, in a competition for my hand, do you really think you stand a chance? Moka asked, a dangerous smile on her face as she stepped closer to the blonde. Naruto's warning senses were going off as he felt this was a question with no right answer. Luckily for the blonde, he was rescued as the door to the roof burst open. Moka. The voice of Sukune called, rushing onto the roof. Naruto. Kurumu soon followed, stopping short seeing the transformed Moka. Oh well. The silver-haired girl grumbled. We are no longer alone, hopefully we can talk again soon. My rosary please. Naruto reached into his pocket, pulling out the jeweled cross, handing it to the girl. Then he watched as she then clasped it back on her neck. Moka's hair regained its bright color and Nato caught her as she fell to the ground. What happened? Sukune asked, as he made his way over to his friends. Glad to see you in one piece, buddy. Naruto smiled. Let me tell you about how all of this went down. The next day, after explaining everything to his friends, Naruto used the school newspaper to clear Sukune's name. Jin, however, wasn't so lucky. His reputation among many of the girls in the school was ruined. Although he did try to make amends with his fellow club members. He apologized to all of them, explaining that around the time of the full moon he often acted a bit too feral. It went a long way to earning forgiveness with everyone. That was until right after his apology he declared that he would just have to prove that he was the best man for Moka and that he would earn her love. In the end, it looked good for the newspaper club. Naruto looked around at the bare rocky terrain surrounding him, and before him was his destination. It was a dark cave with a thick braided rope around the entrance. A hazy feeling surrounded his mind, and he couldn't recall what he was doing beforehand, but that didn't matter. All that did matter was getting his charge safely to the cave. He was tasked with the protection of the High Priestess, who was currently riding on his back. The problem was the army of stone soldiers that stood between him and his destination. Adjusting the pleasant weight of the priestess, Naruto charged forward. Uttering a battle cry, the blonde engaged the enemy formations. The priestess on his back held on tightly, wrapping her legs around his waist, as his fists shattered the stone enemies. Things were going well as scores of foes fell before him. That was until he became surrounded on three sides by the stone sentinels while the fourth was a sheer cliff. Destroying a few more soldiers, Naruto dodged the attack of a stone spear. Twisting away, the rapid maneuver dislodged the priestess from his back. Looking back, the boy was shocked to see that he was much closer to the edge of the cliff than he first thought. The priestess was already over the edge, a shocked look on her familiar face. Kurumu looked back at Naruto, her hand outstretched as she fell towards a pool of water dangerously far below. The blonde did not even have time to think as he rushed over the edge after the girl. Naruto slowly caught up to Kurumu, his arms wrapping around her protectively. Just before hitting the water, he twisted around, shielded the priestess from the slap of the water. Carrying Kurumu to the shore, Naruto was able to get a good look at her. She was wearing a large yellow zip hoodie with a white tank top and red shorts underneath. "You saved me," Kurumu whispered, as her rescuer placed her against a tree. "Why? It won't matter. I am not going to let you die," Naruto replied confidently. "There are just too many, we won't make it. One or both of us are going to die," she said, despair creeping into her voice. "I am not going to die either," the boy replied. "I'll protect you." "Well, both make it. Do you swear?" the brunette asked. "Of course, I swear on my ninja way," Naruto replied. "I promise." "Oh, Naruto," Kurumu whispered sensually, as she stood up. Naruto's mind grew even more hazy as he watched as Priestess Kurumu dropped her yellow hoodie to the ground, then slowly slid both her tank top and shorts down her body in a smooth motion, revealing a set of pink underwear. "I trust you, but there are so many enemies. I just want to share a lovely moment with you before we have to fight for our lives." The girl smiled as she pulled Naruto towards her. The boy stumbled forward, inadvertently pressing her body against the tree. Kurumu's eyes glowed as she pressed her lips against the lips of her protector. Naruto's hand slowly slid up the girl's side and suddenly the world went black and Naruto awoke with a gasp. Fully awakened, Naruto took a deep breath as he stretched. It seemed that the dream world was affecting the real world as Naruto caught a whiff of Kurumu's scent in his room. The blonde released his breath in a sigh, recalling the last few weeks. The school had just taken midterm tests, and the amnesiac feared that he had done terrible. Unlike other tests where he could easily cheat of Moka, they had randomized the tests. After failing to find a new way to cheat, Naruto was forced to try and answer the questions for real. Needless to say, this did not work well. Despite the new knowledge that he has slowly been learning, there was so much that he didn't understand, and some of the new material that was being taught went so far above his head that he just zoned out when the teacher was speaking. In the end, he ended up guessing on most of the questions. After Naruto finished getting ready, he headed out and joined the gathering of students surrounding a board that held their standing on midterms. Naruto took a moment to find a gap in the group of students, and searched for his placement. It did not take him long to find his name. "Aw man," Naruto sighed, seeing his placing all the way at the bottom, dead last. For some reason that seems appropriate. Nearby Sukune Aono had found that he continued to be the personification of average and was placed 128, right in the middle. "Hey Naruto," Sukune called, seeing his friend nearby. "How did you do?" "Well, I wish I could say I did better than expecting," the blonde moaned, while pointing to his rank at 266. "But I didn't." "Oh. Yikes," Sukune uttered before whispering. "How did you do so bad? You seem to be doing fine in all the stuff in class." "Yeah, well, with my bum memory I don't know any of the stuff you guys would have learned in middle school, and I don't know if I never learned it or have just forgotten it," the forgetful ninja muttered. "Wow, I thought your memory problem sucked before, but this is a whole new level," the average boy said, scratching his head. The two boys were distracted when a chorus of murmurs started. "Oh man, it's Moka, she's ranked 13. Muttered one boy. "Brains and beauty, and if the rumors are true, brawn too, she's perfect," another boy said, with hearts in his eyes. Moka wore a smile on her face as she walked up to her two friends. "How are you two doing today?" The pinkett chirped, seemingly oblivious to the stares that were directed at her. Stares that quickly turned into jealous glares directed towards her two male friends. Separate from the multitude surrounding the group, a pair of young purple eyes studied the group from afar. However, the girl's thoughts were interrupted as a voice growled at her. Congratulations, Yukari. Rank 1. I guess there was a reason why you were able to skip grades. Yukari turned around seeing a sharp-eyed boy glaring down at her. Class representative, muttered the young girl. However, just because you're smart and young doesn't mean you can break the rules. Growled the older boy, as he stepped forward. You're still just a little brat. It makes me sick, especially if your cloths are any indication to what your true form is. Before the boy could get any closer, a rock seemingly jumped off the ground and hit the class representative in the back of the head. Ha ha ha. Yukari giggled. You deserve that, being mean to me. You brat. The boy growled, his hands reaching out like claws. You did that to me, didn't you? It did not look good for the young girl as the boy nearly twice her size barred down toward her. Whoa, hey there. Chimed the voice of Naruto as he seemingly appeared from nowhere, grasping the arm of the aggressive boy, wrenching it into a painful position. Haven't seen you for a while, Yukari. Wah. Naruto. Yukari responded at the blonde's appearance. Who are you? The bully growled, yanking his arm back, massaging his wrist. Oh sorry, I am Yukari's friend, Naruto responded, taking a relaxed stance. It looked like you tripped and almost fell on Yukari, good thing I caught you. Whatever. It's well known that Yukari doesn't have any friends. The class representative growled before looking around at the group of spectators they were attracting. Come on guys, let's leave, the smell is getting worse. The class representative and his two sycophants left right as Moka and Sukune arrived. Naruto, what is going on? You left so suddenly. Moka asked, jogging over. Oh hey guys, I was just helping Yukari here with some jerks. The blonde responded, I don't know if you have met her yet. Yukari, I've heard about you, Moka smiled, bending down to the younger girl's level. You're the girl that skipped multiple grades, it's nice to meet you. I am. You're Moka Akashia, I know all about you. Yukari interrupted, her face alight. I am in the class across the hall from you, you're the perfect beauty who's also a great student. I don't know anyone who could miss your greatness. Moka muttered, as she was caught unaware by the younger girl's praise. Thanks. I've been watching you for a while now, you're just so perfect that Yukari paused as her face turned red. That I think I've fallen in love with you. I was thinking, we should go on a date, just to make sure. A date? Moka paused. I guess that would be okay, as friends, right? Yay. Yukari cheered, glomping the older girl and burying her face in the older girl's chest. Naruto was unsure how to react by the unexpected situation, but he was certain someone he knew would have pulled out a notepad to scribble down some notes. Later, as they were walking through the halls, the small group was attracting a lot of attention as Yukari was unapologetically hanging from Moka's chest. Truly it was odd. Moka seemed to be uncomfortable, Sukune had a stunned look on his face and Naruto was simply confused. This was the situation that Kurumu saw as she walked up to the group. Hey Naruto. She greeted. What's going on here? There just has to be a good story behind this. To be honest, I am not sure. Nothing I can remember will help me deal with this, Naruto muttered, scratching his head. Apparently Yukari loves Moka, and is showing it in a weird way. I mean, she's a kid and they're both girls. I don't know if this is a girl thing or what. I mean, you wouldn't like it, if I were hanging off your chest, right? Well, Kurumu stuttered as her face turned bright red. Luckily she did not have to respond as Sukune seemed to regain his senses and voice his opinion. What do you think you're doing, and in the middle of the hallway? The average boy yelped. Oh you. Yukari deadpanned. I knew you were going to cause a problem sooner or later. Sukune Aono, you're known as the boring but lucky boy that hangs around Moka. How my darling Moka stands your presence I will never know, you're always chasing after her, but it will never work out. You're so dissimilar, it's like watching a bird chase after the sun. That's why I am declaring war on you and any boy that gets in my way. Sukune had a dejected look on his face as Yukari pulled out her wand, waving it at a storage locker. Brooms and buckets attack, she uttered, as the locker popped open, its contents animating and attacking the boy. Naruto was torn. It did seem that Yukari was being a bit of a brat, but because of all the separate interactions between his friends he was confused. What about Naruto? Kurumu spoke up. He's a boy that hangs around Moka. Well, the young witch stuttered, a small blush appearing on her face, before being replaced by a superior look. Unlike Sukune, I don't hate Naruto. I'll allow him to hang around because he is even less a threat than Sukune. Also, with him around, it will make Moka and I look even more brilliant. When compared against the dead last, well, look like super geniuses. Ouch, Yukari. The blonde slumped. That's cold. It's okay, Naruto. You still have me. Kurumu said, patting the blonde on the back. Guys, help. Sukune groaned, covering his face. Possessed cleaning supplies. They're not possessed. It's magic, you fool. It's what I do, cause I am a witch. Yukari announced, unaware of the three familiar faces that were listening around a nearby corner. All right, Yukari. Naruto said, recovering from the young girl's harsh words. Can you stop? Your prank on Sukune is turning mean. Fine. The young witch huffed, her cheeks puffing out as she turned away. As long as he stays away from me and Moka. As the animated cleaning supplies fell quiet, one of the buckets tonked Sukune on top of his head, causing the boy to cringe and hold the bump that was forming. Ooh, let's get you to the infirmary, and take care of those scratches. Naruto sighed, before looking back at the young girl. Yukari, you're my friend, please be nice to my other friends. As Naruto, Sukune and Kurumu left, the witch paused, looking torn between the trio leaving and Moka beside her. What a little brat. Sukune moaned as Kurumu applied an alcohol-soaked cotton ball to a scrape. Who does she think she is, just attacking me like that? She's lucky I am not the kind of guy that would hit a little girl, but she won't always get away with stuff like that. Wow, buddy, the blonde ninja muttered. I know she was being a bit of a brat, but shouldn't you be able to handle a few cleaning supplies? They don't weigh much and weren't moving very fast. Easy for you to say, cause you're like some superhero. Sukune snapped. And why are you taking her side? She attacked me. Okay, I am still a little lost. Kurumu grimaced, as she prepared a band-aid. Yukari declared her love to Moka, but what is your relationship with her, Naruto? Well, she's one of my friends. She reminds me of when I was younger. Naruto said. Sure, she is being mean, but try and put yourself in her shoes. She's like 11 years old, which is 4 years younger than all the freshman class. She probably has no one to relate to, cause she's so much younger than everybody here. I would even bet that she can't relate to her own age group because she is so much smarter than them. She probably looks up to Moka as a role model or an older sister. Wow, I didn't think of it like that. Kurumu sighed, before sidling up to Naruto. Handsome, strong and sensitive, you better watch it or I am going to fall for you. Unknown to the trio inside, listening outside the window, was the very same witch that they were talking about. Yukari had shown up with a plan to cause more mischief, and after hearing what Naruto had to say about her, she was more than a little confused. When she had first met the blonde, she had mostly passed him off as someone who was just messing with her. However, after hearing what he had just said about her, she wasn't sure, and his statement when they first met echoed in her head. You don't have to be alone. If you want, I can be your friend. Shaking her head, Yukari steeled herself. She had come there for a reason. With the new information she heard, she would just alter the plan slightly. She would just get rid of the boring Sukune and then take his place in the group with Moka and Naruto. From what she had seen, he was the weakest in the group. A bit of trouble and he would fold, and she had just the right tool to cause some trouble for him. Sorry, Naruto. I don't want to hurt you or your friends, but when this is all over, you and Moka will completely forget about boring Sukune. The witch thought before pulling out a voodoo doll with Sukune's hair in it. Inside the infirmary, everyone was extremely surprised as Sukune's fist came up, uppercutting Naruto in the cheek. Oh! Exclaimed both Sukune and Naruto as the both grasped their bodies where they made contact. That hurt, man. Naruto said, rubbing his cheek from the unexpected hit. You're hurt. What about me? I think your face broke my hand. Sukune yelped, tears forming in his eyes. What are you made of? Outside the window, Yukari was surprised herself. She had intended on having Sukune punch himself, But he had been sitting too close to Naruto that the path between Sukune's hand and his own face swung up and hit the blonde. Well, that wasn't what I intended, but this works too. Sorry, Naruto. Again, without warning, Sukune's fist swung out at his blonde friend. However, this time Naruto was a bit more prepared for it and caught the fist before it hit. What the hell, Sukune? Kurumu yelled at the strange behavior from the average boy. It's not me. Sukune yelped, as his arms continued flail towards the blonde, each of the attacks being blocked or deflected lightly. My body is moving on its own. Hold on. Naruto said plainly, as he easily caught both of his friend's fists. Yukari. Everyone in the room was able to hear the short gasp that came from just outside. Having regained control of his own limbs, Sukune rushed to the window and glared down at the little girl that was crouching outside. What do you think you are doing? The average boy yelled. You can't just treat people like that. If you keep acting like this, nobody will like you. Naruto is nice, but even he has his limits. Stop being such a brat. Everyone was a bit shocked as the usually soft-spoken boy unloaded on Yukari. The young girl took his spite with her head held low. It doesn't matter. Yukari whispered. I've always been alone. Despite her quiet words, her statement caused everyone to pause. I don't need anybody. She yelled as she squared her shoulders. I don't care about what anybody has to say about me, not you or Naruto or anyone. Hey, wait. Naruto yelled as Yukari suddenly ran off. Well, that could have gone better. As Yukari ran, she kept her head down. She didn't want anyone else to see the unshed tears hanging at the corners of her eyes. Sukune didn't matter to her, but his words still hurt. Her thoughts were brought to an abrupt halt when she ran into someone. Ouch. She moaned, seeing feet of the person she apparently ran into. Why don't you watch where you're going? How rude. A calloused voice scoffed. You were the one that ran into me. Looking up, the young witch saw who she unfortunate enough to running into. Class representative. Is the little brainiac all alone? The boy murmured, condescending. Oh, and would you look at that, a fog is rolling in, they seem to show up as the oddest times. Yukari looked around, and just as the class representative said one of the school's random fogs had popped up and reduced visibility, she could barely see the school building anymore. I've had enough of you. The boy sneered. Acting all cutesy and special, it makes me sick. Especially when I think of what you are. What are you talking about? Yukari asked, looking at the older boy flanked by his two cronies. She was beginning to feel very small and alone. I heard you announce it before, you're a witch, aren't you? He hissed. You're so disgusting. Witches are just humans with a few tricks that lets your kind play fake monsters. The young witch recoiled as the three boys in front of her quickly transformed. Their faces elongating, their hands forming into claws and skin shifting into scales. I am not afraid of you. You don't. She stuttered, pulling out her wand, only to pause 1 second later before her wand was destroyed with a vicious bite. Oh look, no more little tricks. The class representative hissed. Without magic you're just a human, and you know what the school rules say about humans here. I've heard that humans taste really good. Growled one of the flanking lizard men. Wouldn't witches taste the same? Good idea, let's eat her. The leader said, slowly stepping forward, mouth wide, causing Yukari to recoil in fear. At the last moment, a hand reached out and pulled the young girl away from the descending jaws, as the sharp teeth clacked together, empty. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Cajoled the boy that had just appeared and saved Yukari. Who the hell would eat a fellow classmate? Naruto. The witch gasped, looking beside her at the blonde that held her safely in one arm. What are you doing here? I was just checking up on you. Naruto responded without taking his eyes off the lizard men. But that doesn't mean I was so mean to you and your friends. Why are you doing this? The girl asked, not understanding the boy. Well, you're my friend too, even if we have disagreements doesn't mean we aren't. We're friends and that makes you important to me. Naruto looked down smiling. Yukari started to tear up as her heart was filled with joy. Before she had been uncertain about Naruto. She thought that maybe he had some secret intentions regarding her. But with that smile and him saving her, those doubts were wiped away. Now, she had a friend and was very happy. Hey! Snapped the lead lizard man, interrupting the moment. If you know what's good for you, you'll leave. We were having an important meeting with Yukari, and unless you want to join you better make yourself scarce. Naruto groaned, stepping forward and pushing Yukari behind him. Yeah, I heard you were going to eat her, that's really messed up. I won't allow that kind of crap to happen to one of my friends, so how about you leave and I won't have to make your faces look even worse than they already are. Bastard. Hissed the class representative. I guess we will just have you join her, and turn this meal into a feast. Naruto. Yukari yelled in concern for her new friend as he ran forward to meet the numerically superior foes. Just as she was about to run for help, she saw how the fight was unfolding, and thought better. The witch watched as Naruto danced around the three lizard men. They couldn't touch him, all their attacks were either dodged or deflected. His skill and spatial awareness were incredible. Often circling around them, using one to block the avenue of attack of the others. Yukari was so absorbed in watching that she didn't even notice that she was no longer alone until one of the people that arrived spoke. Wow. Naruto's so strong. Kurumu sighed, pulling the witch out of her stupor. I was going to help, but I think he's got this one. Looking around, Yukari saw that Kurumu, Sukune, and Moka were all around her, watching the blonde embarrass the three lizard men. Yeah, I am with you there, and from the smile on his face I think he's enjoying it. Sukune muttered, causing the rest of the group to nod. There was indeed a wide grin on Naruto's face as he fought the three foes. One of lizards of unusual size lunged at him, jaws open. Naruto simply reached out under his foe's maw and forced his mouth closed. Ah, my tongue! Hissed the boy-turned lizard, hands reaching to his mouth. This seemed to anger the leader. Just stay still and die. He yelled as he spun around, his tail whipping out violently. Naruto's smile never faltered as he reached out, grasping onto one of the other lizard mon's wrist, and pulling his foe into the attack, shielding himself from the blow. From the sound of the solid thump, the attack landed powerfully across the second lizard mon's head, dropping him like a puppet with its strings cut. With the downing of one of their group, the other two paused to assess the situation. One of their group was down, the other was slightly injured as he cradled his face from his wounded tongue. Both of them were gasping for air from the short skirmish. Their enemy, however, did even look winded, a bright, confident smile shining on his face. What are you? Hissed the lead lizard man, his own confidence waning. Naruto's smile flickered only slightly. A lot of people keep asking me that. What you see before you is an unlimited supply of the highest grade, refined and purified ass whooping. What names should I put down as the recipients to this delivery of pain? He threatened, smacking his fist into his palm. A class rep, muttered the other lizard man, his voice distorted by his injured tongue. I am not sure this is the best plan anymore. Oh look. Naruto chirped, amusement in his voice. Seems like you're not completely brainless, so are you going to pick up your friend and leave, or do you want to stick around? Although if you stay I will have to do something my friend likes to do and show you your place. Whatever, keep the stupid witch. Killing her would be more trouble in the end anyway. The class representative hissed, cautiously picking up his downed cohort and quickly leaving. As the lizard men left, Naruto causally walked back to the group, the smile still on his face. That was fun, so is anyone else hungry? He asked as if he just hadn't been in a life and death battle. Wah! Yukari uttered, bewildered by the blonde behavior. You saved me, why? Huh? Naruto responded as though the question made no sense. Why wouldn't I save you? We're friends, that's what friends do. But I was so mean to you, I don't understand. No one has ever treated me